if we were Irish, if we were Jewish, if we were Poles, if we had, in fact, in your mind, a frame of reference, our heroes would be your heroes too. Nat Turner would be a hero for you instead of a threat. Malcolm X might still be alive. And everyone is very proud of brave little Israel, state against which I have nothing. I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not an anti-Semite. But when the Israelis pick up guns, or the Poles, or the Irish, or any white man in the world says, "Give me liberty or give me death," the entire white world applauds. When a black man says exactly the same thing, word for word, he is judged a criminal and treated like one, and everything possible is done to make an example of this bad nigger so there won't be any more like him. If we were Irish.
Welcome to another episode of Nick and CJ Weekends. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's poppin', my friends, my family? We are back for a fantastic RBN Saturday show. Welcome, my friends and family. It is International Human Rights Day. Do you guys know that? And a very important day. So, we talk about human rights all the time, but also a very cringe day in a lot of ways. Because this is the day where
you're going.
You have neoliberals and war criminals everywhere who pretend that they are champions of human rights. So for the sake of International Human Rights Day, I want to make sure that it is clear to everybody that the United States is the biggest violator of human rights. It's not only do they violate human rights, they go a step worse than that. They weaponize human rights, where they said, we're the champion of human rights. We're going to get involved in other people's democracies. We're going to destroy the sovereignty of other countries because of their quote unquote human rights violations, all while giving cover to Israel, all while giving cover to Saudi Arabia and the UK. Mm-hmm. You had Joe Biden in the Biden administration that provided cover for Israel killing Shirin Abu Akleh. And you had Saudi Arabia that killed Jamal Khashoggi. Biden gave them complete immunity. So not only do the United States violate human rights on a massive scale, they weaponize it to provide shield for their allies while giving cover and a phony explanation for their anti-democratic, socialist-busting international global politics. That's NATO. That's the transatlantic capitalist alliance that we've seen, right? So I want to show that. I want to give you, and if you want to have any thoughts on this, because I want to show you guys this. I'm glad that that we have people like Misty and my friend Sarah that can post stuff like this as well. This is where all the countries the United States has bombed since World War II: Korea, Guatemala, Indonesia, Cuba, Guatemala again. Congo, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Guatemala again, Grenada, Lebanon, Libya, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Iran, Panama, Iraq, Kuwait, Somalia, Bosnia, Sudan, Afghanistan, Yugoslavia, Afghanistan again, Yemen, Iraq again, Pakistan, Somalia, Yemen, Libya, and Syria. And a few of those was again. Jesus Christ. These are the people who's going to wag their finger about human rights at us. And I'm gonna show you this video from Mitt Wallace. I know I'm going off CJ, but
no, this is so needed because it's so. This is a line that I think is not attacked enough on the left. This human rights shield bullshit that the United States plays.
Bernie Sanders and them go along with it.
And they go I was just about to say it. They go along with it, hook, line, and sinker. AOC. These are not leftists, and I think after the strike breaking, of course, now we can just now say it because Kashana, socialist. I mean DSA, we can say it. They're not socialists, okay? So they are just being used as shields to make socialists look like weak people and to make socialists look like people who will go along with all of these human rights violations like Israel. It is so despicable that what Jamal Bowman and the rest of the progressives do, in particular, it's so despicable in my opinion. And the new golden boy, what's his name, Maxwell or Max something.
Frost Maxwell, who's fucking
yeah,
garbage.
he was featured again for
Oh,
Warnock.
yeah, I saw that.
You know what they have found? They found a Kamala Harris in this guy that he's gonna do whatever they want. They've been talking to him, Nick. You think this is a coincidence?
Guys, well,
They're having conversations with all of these candidates who won and seeing where they're head at, and they finding out this motherfucking guy will do exactly what we want. Put him on the campaign trail and let's spotlight him.
And he can trick the Zoomers. Guy, what Maxwell Frost did was particularly evil. More evil than most. Because John Fetterman, he was like, I don't give a fuck about Palestinians. Do I look like someone who cares about Palestine? No, what Maxwell Frost did is worse than what John Fetterman did. Because what Maxwell Frost did was infiltrate Palestinian organizations, look at these people in their face, in their eyes, shook their hands, and said, I will support BDS, and I will support your guys' ass and demands on this issue. Then, as soon as he got in the club, as soon as he won the primary, like, oh, thanks for the political capital, guys. Peace. Nice knowing you guys. No, I'm dead. We covered this weeks ago. We have Palestinian organizations that was calling him out, but the Zionist and Democratic Party more than happy to shut their voices out. The modern progressive movement more than happy to shut these people's voices out. Now, all we ask is for people like Mick Wallace. I'm gonna show you guys this video from Mick Wallace. Instead of being the enablers of this bullshit, you have Mick Wallace and Claire Daly who don't play this game.
EU lectures countries about rule of law and also on human rights. EU lectures countries about rule of law and also on human rights when it suits its geopolitical agenda. We have an association agreement with Israel. How come we've no problem with rule of law in how Israel treats the Palestinians? Or what about the human rights of the Palestinians? Do they not matter? We're perfectly happy to do business with them.
All I want is for leftists in the United States to at least say that, right? I want AOC to quote tweet Kamala Harris the same way I just did. I know that me saying that is ridiculous, but how low is the bar? The fact that me even why shouldn't they? I thought. This is what I was fooled into believing. I thought we was having a hostile left takeover. But what they're not. They are Democrats. They are Democrats. So, I quote tweeted Kamala, you should have people in the squad. Imagine if Bernie and AOC and Ilhan was going at Kamala and Biden like this. There would be no criticism from me.
None.
You wouldn't have to hear my loud ass mouth. In fact, I'm like, damn, CJ, you see that Bernie video? See that Bernie heat when he was calling out NATO? That shit doesn't happen. You guys know how bad Mike Figueredo and them want to do that video?
What is the downside, Nick? What is the downside to all of them calling out, oh, we're going to get retaliated? What's the downside that y'all publicly with way more followers than them? What is the downside here? Then coordinate your followers. If you start getting retaliation, tell your followers and unleash your followers on the cat. What is your problem here? I don't understand what is the problem, Nick, unless this is personal. I want my life to be better. I want to be treated like celebrities. I want people to tell me I'm the greatest person. I want people to tell me I'm like Malcolm X. That's what this is about. It's all personal. All personal. Imagine if we had a squad full of shamas.
Exactly.
That's the business, G. That's what we should be. That's the business, G. That's the line I used to say.
And AOP is as far away from Kashama as the ocean is wide.
Yes.
There's as far as wide as a difference. If you
it is a different dimension. It is not even the same dimension. Not even a parallel dimension. Go ahead.
Sorry, CJ, but go ahead. Not even the same category, guys. And that's why I said it many times. I'm so glad that you told Ryan Green, we're not looking for a martyr. We're looking for someone who had revolutionary discipline like the Shama, right?
You know why I had to make sure? Because I replayed that scene in a split second, how that was going to be clipped.
Yep.
RBN is down for empty. I was like, oh, no, sir. I was like, no. That's why I was like, no, I need to, because he said it more than one. He said it the second time is when I was like, no, I need to say something.
And that's their perception of us, guys.
Yeah.
And also they're like, oh, they're the Marjorie Taylor Greene left. Meaning we're the unreasonable, rabid, belligerent,
Right.
uncivilized.
Like Marjorie Taylor Greene do activist summits, anti-imperialist summits. Marjorie Taylor Greene talks about the counter-revolution that started this country with Dr. Gerald Holmes. Like, it's unserious. It's so
deeply
unserious, you
unserious.
know?
It's so deeply unserious.
Go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
No, we
trying
can
to
have
hold
fun.
something.
We
Go
always
ahead.
like to have fun in the beginning.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is Kamala here. Oh, should we play this? I didn't watch it. I just saw the tweet and I immediately raged.
It's not like she's gonna say something good. I mean, it's Kamala.
Let's
Come
see,
on.
The Universal Declaration on Human Rights once said, without equality,
Oh, Jesus. Look, she's saying nothing.
there can be no democracy.
Okay, so you guys get it. That 10 seconds is good enough to know where she's going with that.
Yeah.
And her tweet says, it's been 75 years since the UN adopted human rights declaration. Oh my God, it's like who are the real people liking this? Like I know like 80% of these are bots, but the stat like it may be 90%. But that's still a lot of people, man.
There's
like,
people like that guy Brian Taylor. Is his name Brian Tyler or Taylor? He's a
I think I know
YouTuber.
what you're talking about. I think I know
Something like that. Like he's so unserious. Like I don't even cover it. Like I'm not even covering that guy. He's so unserious. But there's people like him. I don't know if he believes it or he's part of it too.
I don't know,
He
man.
had
I
her
really
on.
don't know what
And they trust him enough, Nick, where he has a YouTube show. You know she came on his show? Do you know the VP? Yes.
Yeah, he's like one of them big shit lib YouTube accounts.
Yes. He's like a
Brooklyn dad. There's no way that guy's real. There's no way that. I mean, like that guy is definitely some fucking trained TNT insider, and then they propping him up. Like I think I know what you're talking about. Like there's just a few of these.
I think
people.
His name is Taylor or Tyler. Yeah.
Like he like a Brooklyn dad. Like a lot of these people are like talking about the algorithm. They read all the scripts that come from the Biden administration. So yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah,
go ahead.
So she says our administration remains clear in our commitment to protecting and advancing human rights here at home. Said the people that probably put 100,000 more cops on the street and around the world. Said the people who give Saudi Arabia and Israel immunity with killing journalists. That is what you guys have done. You guys have funded multiple genocides. You guys bombed Somalia, funded genocide in Yemen, escalating World War III against Russia and China. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? And this is, I'm going to show you guys, this is another one, last one on our International Human Rights segment. Look at this motherfucker. Look, I tell you, this is going to be a long day. This is going to be a long ass day. Because we got so many of these neoliberals in the Democrat Party. What are they designed to do, CJ? They're here to hijack revolutionary thought and progressive energy and then whitewash neoliberal capitalism and war criminals doing that. So a holiday that is about human rights. Guess who's there to make it about them? Guess who's there to make it about the Democratic Party?
No, Blinken?
Yes, this is Anthony Blinken. For people who are only listening, not watching the screen, this is.
I have not seen this. I have not seen.
Yeah, I told you, CJ. I hide some stories.
Oh my God, I don't know if I could take this shit here. This guy. Oh God, no.
The department. Look, they A1 new International Human Rights Day today, so I just saw a few of these tweets. I didn't look. Like it's probably a fucking cringe fest.
Hillary Clinton.
Right now.
If Hillary, I gotta see if Hillary Clinton said anything. Go ahead.
I gotta look. Maybe we can look live here soon.
I'll look.
I pulled these tweets in the morning. I ain't looked in the last few hours. This is probably an absolute fucking cringe fest right now.
Oh my Lord!
Because this is the department, the State Department, tweeting on International Human Rights Day, the biggest violator of human rights in the last century. And I'm being very nice here. Not for a second, not being too. You
don't want to say in existence. You don't want to say existence.
Just to make it simple for you guys. Let's say that they're the biggest violator of human rights in the last century. Let's keep it simple. It is the U.S. State Department.
Like by far. It's not even close. Not close. Go ahead.
Yeah. The President of the United States has committed to putting human rights back at the center of foreign policy. And that's a commitment I and the entire Department of State takes very seriously. Now, do you guys know what? Anything the United States say, I take the exact opposite, and people call me a tanky for it. No matter what they say.
I don't see why. Then that's a good tanky. That's the tanky you want to be.
No matter what they say. So this is Blinken his tweet. So anyway, I at least had to lead off with the show saying the biggest violator of human rights in the United States. You're gonna see these liberals all day. I'm gonna see what else I can find if I just look up human rights. It's probably horrific by now, but that's why I decided to get into independent media because I feel like on the left there need to be more emphasis, not carrying water for the State Department talking points like I see Social Democrats doing, but saying that we are the number one. We must be resisted no matter what. Not this bullshit where you see with the Voss left, the Breaking Points left, where they support U.S. Regime change in Ukraine, where they support U.S. war in China. No, we need to draw a hard line. I'm here to humanize our enemies, debunk State Department talking points, and expose them as the biggest criminals. Because we're going to talk about Brittany Griner here.
Yes.
Actually, we can introduce this one because I'm going a little bit out of order. But you had conservatives that were melted down about Viktor Bout. Oh my God, the merchant of death. Oh my God, Joe Biden, he freed the merchant of death who sold arms and advocated bombing other countries. And I'm like, you mean the average U.S. senator?
I saw that.
Like, are you guys serious? Are you guys serious? Like, have you guys heard what they say about Viktor Bout? The way they describe Viktor Bout is the way we describe John McCain. They do the same shit. And I'm not here to defend Viktor Bout.
But what are they mad? Well, I don't want to go too deep in it before we do the announcements, because I'm curious.
I'm going out of order. I'm going out of order.
It's okay, but I'm curious to see what exactly is the point. Don't tell me what it is, because I want to be shocked. I'm curious to see what exactly is their point to why are they mad about this exchange? Because we have to think about through the lens of white supremacy. This nigger, why do we want to trade? Why is this why is this an equal swap? You get what I'm saying? Like, is that what this is going to be proven? So that's what I'm curious about. But let's get to announcements.
I'm going to set this up right.
Yeah,
but that's the preview
absolutely.
of our first story.
We got a lot to talk about it,
but, go ahead.
I did want to show this for the international human rights, and this would be a good way. This is what Hillary Clinton posted. So
this today?
Yes, and this is it. Look,
Christ.
It says she retweeted it from the Clinton Foundation. She retweeted it today.
Oh no!
Women's rights are human rights once and for all. No, that's true. That statement. But the problem is the person who's saying it. Now, this is her.
We need to understand there is no one formula for how women should lead our lives. That is why we must respect the choices that each woman makes for herself and her family. If there is one message that echoes forth from this conference, let it be that human rights are women's rights and women's rights are human rights once and for all.
That's it. They just have applause. And my only comment to a person like this saying it is that it solidifies, confirms in my mind white American or the United States white feminism, which means only white people, only white women. Because human rights, which is women's rights, means the human women that are in Somalia, that are in Palestine, that are in Yemen. You see how white feminism just says, fucked all of those people? We just mean the people here. So that's my comment on this person saying it. Go ahead.
Hey guys, ask the Haitian women how they feel about Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Is Hillary Clinton a feminist icon for Haitian women, Iraqi women? White liberal feminism is literally only about white suburban women. That's it. Hell, we got we did shows before. I know Sabby talked about this before, but what white America often forgets is the role that white feminists played in upholding Jim Crow.
Right.
Anyway, you guys not ready for that conversation. I got to prepare a whole segment. You're not ready for that.
That's an I Am Revolution
Yeah,
conversation.
that's an I Am Revolution stream. I gotta bring receipts for that. Like, yeah, I gotta bring receipts for that.
All right, here go the announcements. All right,
yeah,
so
go do announcement. Oh yeah, well, let me tell you guys this. This is
Yeah,
why I
go
said
ahead.
Jesus Christ. Last one. This is why I said Jesus fucking Christ.
One more
earlier.
receipt.
Look at this. Look who tweeting about him. This 6 minutes ago.
Oh,
Bill Clinton.
you
You
got the fucking
only
audacity.
200 likes in 6 minutes, dude. Are you liberals? Are you serious? This is disgusting. I'm disgusted. Because they tweet about do numbers, I can tell.
Yeah. Oh, the bots is out. Oh, you know, there's certain accounts where it's literally they have an emergency bots out, like every single tweet. And his is one of them. All the presidents.
I want to ratio him so bad by all that time we live, but Jesus fucking Christ, bro. Bill Clinton. Oh gosh. All right, that last one show. So you guys know I literally just found that. I just literally just searched human rights law. Let's see what they tweeted. That's 6 minutes ago. You all know it's full. You already know Obama about to tweet.
I can't stomach that. I can't stomach Obama. I can't stomach it. I can't.
You already know. You already know if you haven't done already. But anyway, CJ, go ahead with announcement.
Yeah. Okay. So, Nick, I mean, go ahead, do what you're doing. But you can listen to this part. We hit 27,000, sir, during the stream. During the stream, right before we started, I checked and we weren't at 27. So, thank you. We have hit 27,000 subscribers. I can't believe we're this close. Now, it's not. I'm not being, doom and gloom, but it's unlikely we're gonna do 3,000 before the year is out. Unlikely. It's not impossible. Crazy. But I didn't even believe we were gonna get this close to be 3,000 away from our goal of 30,000.
Especially considering they unsubscribing people for our channel.
Exactly. Just think if they didn't unsubscribe people.
Considering all the bullshit they're doing to our channel, I feel very blessed that we're where we're at. That's awesome.
Right. So 27,000. We just crossed it during the stream. The goal is to 30,000. That's the hashtag. The other thing is join our Substack. Our Substack have grown like at least 200 in like 4 or 5 days. Wow. So 2 reasons to join our Substack. If you want to get notifications when we go live, like these streams, we don't always do them, but we have been doing them lately pretty frequently. But for any stream that is unannounced, you'll get a notification in our regular things. Plus, we've been cranking out clips. Shout out to our new editor, and she's gonna be more than just an editor. We're gonna train her to be a producer, so she'll be producing.
Yeah.
Also, she wants to do all of this. So it's yeah. Amazing. So once we have the meeting and all that, and we get through some things, Aaron. So shout out to Aaron, doing all these clips. The clips are increasing, and I think that can contribute to people seeing more clips. It's just more and more and more clips that she's able to do. And you see now, people can see we're not just we hate the Democrats. When you break our shit down, Nick, and you actually splice it up and put it out, wow, they actually talk about a lot of different things on their show, and people are actually now being able to see that.
And war crimes and state violence more than we do. No one does. Come on.
Right.
Come on.
State violence too. Absolutely. Police violence. Absolutely. So join our Substack. Next thing, let's like the stream. We currently have 269 people here. Let me tell you what the topics are today. Let's see. So of course, I'll throw the graphic up just for reference. Of course, Kyrsten Sinema. I don't think that's not the main story, but Kyrsten Sinema has left the Democratic Party in shambles again. Like, this shit is so fucking hilarious. Like, right after the election, all of the shams just start falling apart, from the student loan to the strike to the being strike breakers. Now she's like, right after they just won the runoff in Georgia. She's like, I'm out, bitches. Like, I'm out. And they trying to act like this doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter. Okay. And it doesn't matter. If it didn't matter, all of y'all wouldn't be covering it the way that you're covering
and the funny thing is,
does.
What I think the biggest story is the one coming up is the upcoming hill turn from the other. They got +1 in the Senate now. So watch one of these senators all of a sudden say, "Oh man, I think our party is starting to drift too far to the left." Guys, we don't know who it is yet, but I promise you, it's coming. I promise you, it's coming.
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
recruited the Green Party gal. They recruited the Green Party gal last time from Arizona.
Yes.
They got Kyrsten Sinema. Who's gonna be the
And look
next?
what they turned.
We see.
Look what they turned. Look what they turned. Kyrsten Sinema was a Green Party candidate. How do you go from a Green Party candidate to this, Nick? It is absolutely a stunning turn of events. But that's one of the stories. Congrats hitting 30K. RBN to 30K. Absolutely solidarity. Also, we asked Nina Turner to come on, and we'll show you the poll results and talk about that. Just show a tweet, really. That's going to be a very short segment. And then Bernie Sanders is teasing that he could run in 2024. And I'm just going to go on record. I'm not supporting the guy. So, and then we got a couple of other stories that we're going to get to. Of course, the funding of the military, just breaking records left and right. If you don't think they're preparing for what they're seeing across the world, Nick, they are seeing general strikes in all different kind of countries, uprisings against NATO, Nick, like they've never seen, Nick. And it's going to get worse because they know what in the winter is going to get worse for Europe. This shit is about to get terrible. But go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry. Let's do the likes. So we are currently at 149 likes. We have 260 people watching. Can we push to 225 likes? Sorry about that. Let's push to 225 likes. 225 likes. That'll get a few more people here for these upcoming discussions. I'm telling you, you're gonna want to be here. I'm sorry. The Britteny Griner is another story we're gonna be covering. She was released, but you kind of talked about it already. The conservative reaction, but let's get us to 225, and I'm gonna pass it back to Nick for the first story.
So yeah, we're gonna cover Britteny Griner being released, and this is a story that once again disposes that both parties in the United States are deeply unserious and highly fascistic. You had people on the right that are saying that she should remain imprisoned because she hates America. Like you literally say, oh, she's a drug using, American hating. Why would we trade to get her out? So okay, are you guys saying that she should stay in prison because she, for one, hating America is pretty based, for one, and this stuff that they're repeating ad nauseum. Every single conservative outlet is melting down over Britteny Griner being released.
Think about what that says about their patriotism. I thought y'all all about Americans, but only the Americans you like. You see that, Nick? Only the Americans that say the shit that you want to hear. What type of freedom is that? So even me, like I wouldn't be saying, hey, why did you get back a KKK member if he was an American? Like if he was unjustly in another country, like I don't like him being a KKK member, but like, are we gonna go out? America's going back and exchanging shit and getting it's an American. So why is this different? And I'm telling you, it has to do with her race. I'm telling you that right now.
100%.
Go ahead.
100%. They cheered when Donald Trump pardoned proven war criminals, people who killed and pillaged Iraqi villages. I didn't report at the time when it happened. Like, one of the people that Donald Trump pardoned was a guy who was responsible for vicious war crimes that he admitted to. That he had people on his team that said this guy was a psychopath, and he literally was charged for war crimes because the U.S. Army was like, this guy is crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to chime in and say that they was like, this nigga's crazy. Go ahead.
I'm trying to see if
he got court-martialed and found guilty.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the guy's name. It's fucking Navy SEAL
It's
pardon.
been a while. It's been a while.
I'm just for the sake of segment, I'll pull this up because this guy found this real quick. I'm just trying to see if I can find the name. So these are the people that they cheered.
Yeah, that's the guy. I remember his face. Yeah.
But people are okay with someone being in prison for a plant. I'm not okay with that. And that's always been my criticism. I don't believe that pushing the drug war and taking people freedom is a way to achieve socialism, even when I look at other countries that do that. But with that said, I acknowledge the fact that countries like China got billions of people. They imprison less people than us, so it's not a giant problem. But I'm just consistent on that, and I said it when Brittany Griner was in prison. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that, and that is a legit criticism of Putin. I said that at the time, right? But
Now, do
I
you
live
think
in the empire. Wait, I live in the
Go
empire,
ahead.
and I acknowledge, and I'm gonna continue to hold our government accountable, because there's nothing that I can say on the channel. There's liberals and their Western chauvinists who virtue signal all the time, but your tweets, your YouTube videos, how is that impacting Putin and the Russian government? It is not. It is just virtue signaling. That's why I didn't waste my time doing it. I said it on my show once. I don't have to keep repeating it. But what I did pivot to was the blatant hypocrisy, right? And this thing that been driving me crazy ever since the beginning of this story. And trust me, guys, I am extremely happy that Brittany Griner is gone. Is released.
It's back, yeah.
Because this story that did legitimately bug me. I hated that ending, so I'm glad that she's free. But seeing the Kamala Harris liberals, Joe Biden and the Democratic Party pretend that they care about people being in prison for marijuana violations. Do you guys know, because of this, Putin is released more marijuana prisoners than Biden has done at this point because of this. So why are some of our lives viable? So do we have to get tattoos and shoot a basketball for us for our lives to be valuable? You guys see, I had a lot of conflicting feelings on this story, because I was very sympathetic to Brittany Griner. I was critical of Russia for imprisoning her, but at the same time, I was fucking fuming this entire time. You got fucking Amy Klobuchar, the queen of incarceration. Kamala Harris, oh my God, free Brittany Griner. Oh my God, what happened to Brittany Griner? It's so sad. Yeah. Meanwhile, you got niggas in prison right now. Eric Adams is expanding the prison state right now, and y'all don't give a fuck about that. So yes, I admit I did have a lot of conflicting feelings about this story. But for the record, I'm happy Brittany Griner is gone, but I'm not celebrating shit, man. I'm not celebrating shit.
Right, because the critique is not on Brittany.
Yeah,
the critique that I have for this story also is not a critique on Brittany. It could be, any other person, but it does beg to ask the question: if she was not famous, what would they be doing this? Like, would they be doing this if this was a regular black person, or is the Biden administration going to use this opportunity in this swap to say, see what we do for black people?
Yes,
they do singular things for one black person and say that means we're doing something for black people. This is what they use all the time. This is what they use with the pardon. You did something that affects 6,500 people, and you think you did something for the black community.
And people, I already see a bunch of dumb black liberals saying that. Oh my God!
Yeah, they're gonna feed it. All the coons. All the coons are gonna be clap, dancing for this. Oh, Al Sharp, all of them are gonna be dancing for this. Go ahead.
And I had to be very careful commenting on this story, because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. But I don't view this as a victory for the black community. If you guys don't, so what we gotta do? We gotta dribble a basketball for a professional team for people to care. That's the only people that matter. And y'all want us to dance in the streets. And the reason why I gotta be careful talking about this, because I feel like two things can exist at once, right? I can be happy that Brittany Griner is free. I can be critical that Russian prisoner. Why also being salty about this? That's the kind of nuance.
Because the reason.
Go ahead, CJ.
When you're dealing with corrupt, despicable people who are trying to run victory laps, this is the reaction you're gonna get. You're gonna get like a mixed reaction where you're like, yeah, I'm happy that she's free, but it also illustrates layer upon layers of other issues. And just look at how many issues we just listed in that one couple of sentences. What's one of the issues? Black coons out here giving dap to this strategy. But that's why they are here. That's why they are able to have jewels and homes and take vacations and appear to be friendly with the whites. You know what I mean? Like that's the reason why. That's the reason why we have John Legends, and I can say John. I mean, I don't think that's a stretch to everybody know John Legend is a shit lib and will tap dance for them. Everybody knows that. And we don't have to relive your ratio when he ratioed you, the story you always tell when John Legend ratioed you. What was the tweet on that when he ratioed you?
When he was trying to say that this because I was like, yo, I was 100% right. That tweet aged like wine, son. Because I was like, for the long term, for the left, it'd be better if Trump won. And if Biden win, that would embolden neoliberalism. I can find the tweet because it's pretty.
That would absolutely embolden in neoliberalism. Do you not see what's happening in the Ukraine? Do you not see the escalation of the military budget? Like it's so many things that that speaks to the escalation of the military budget. 45 billion, is it billion over what the Biden administration? I think it's billion.
So
over.
This ratio, I didn't stand a chance because fucking John Legend.
Yeah.
So this ratio was hilarious. I remember I was so mad. I told this all the time because I was offline for quite some time while this ratio was going down. I was like, man, I wish I was there.
Yeah.
It was like hours later. I checked on my Twitter. I was like, yo, what the fuck? And then I saw John Legend. I'm like, oh, that. And guys, it was like every liberal blue check Twitter guy chimed in. Like every one of people I probably didn't know. But John Legend was like the biggest one. I fucking listened to Get Lifted, man. I love that album. And I had John Legend coming at me for some shit lib shit. So now look at it. Look at this.
This is the coon coming after a field nigga saying, "Get in line, nigga." That's what this is right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I said Joe Biden losing to Trump will mark the death blow to neoliberalism. Barack Obama will be 0-2 against Trump. His credibility and legacy ruined. That's why I went out. Imagine if you had a situation where you had Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden both come from the Obama administration, endorsed by Barack Obama,
right?
Lose to Donald Trump. Wouldn't that help your guys' strategy of taking over the Democratic Party? Because then you can say, look, neoliberalism lost twice. Now there's zero chance.
Oh, he's not a progressive. He's a straight liberal. He's not even he's not a progressive at all. He's a straight liberal.
I was speaking strategy for the and this is, look at the ages tweet. This is August 2020, and I was telling, this is when I was like, Bernie people, don't vote for Biden, you fucking idiots. Like I was pleading, and this is one of the tweets I did because, like, guys, if you want to take over the Democratic Party, the best result is Biden losing. I said Biden winning may be better for the very short term, and the funny thing is, I was very optimistic when I said that. It wasn't better for the very short term. So if I was going to get ratio for anything, I should have been ratio for saying that. I said Biden winning may be better for the very short term, but Trump defeating Biden is objectively better for the progressive movement long term. Biden winning emboldens neoliberalism and crushes the left. Age like wine, right?
Isn't that exactly what happened?
So then John Legend said, imagine thinking we'll have a functioning democracy if Trump get reelected. Oh my God, he ratioed me with that shit live talking point, and I was so mad. I was gone for.
I don't
hours.
know if you could have did anything, Nick, even if you saw. Because think about the time. When is the date of that?
Yeah.
When is it? Is it February 2020 or something like that?
It is August 2020.
August. Think about that. August 2020. 2 months, so it's getting close and close. Remember, K-Hive was out macheting heads off, man. It was macheting, figuratively macheting heads off. YouTube, figuratively macheting heads off on Twitter. At least they was going ham. So anything you said, anything like remotely saying Trump should win, you was gonna be like just swarmed on it.
I went to war.
Don't matter.
Fuck.
It don't matter. I'm just saying that time was very intense. It's 2 months before the election. People really thought that Biden could lose. He wasn't that great, like in debates. Everybody was still locked in, so you had that tension. It wasn't a good time at that time. So you, like, if you was right on it, It's still like it was just not a good time.
And CJ, remember, this is before my shadow ban. And fuck Elon Musk for trying to pretend that's only right wingers. Guys, at this point, I had like 20,000 followers. I said this before. I used to get 30 million Twitter impressions. I have 5 times more followers now, and I get 5 million Twitter impressions. But the right wing is trying to pretend that anti-war left voice is not suppressed. So that's why they send John Legend after me, CJ. They used to send these people after me all the time because 30 million people used to see my tweets every month. And I was making these arguments every fucking day. Like, guys, as Bernie movement,
you've been identified.
So then
your account has been identified. That's when your account was identified as a suppressing account. I guarantee your account has. I mean, you already knew this. Your account has.
I already know. So I don't cry over it. I don't talk about it all the time. But it's like it's been like Bree talk about it. Like literally everyone with platform. It was so obvious. Like the night and day shift. It was so obvious when it happened. And like they hit a button, then my analytics cut. Not even a half, by literally a 6. It went from 30 million to 5 million. And that's not obvious. But anyway, that's always a funny ratio to talk about. I'm gonna get back to
go ahead.
I'm gonna get back to the story because we were talking about Griner, and I'll put this article back up because it said Biden under pressure because of this. And my reaction is he though? I don't really think he's under pressure. Niggas have been in the streets. Why did we leave the streets? CJ, why did we leave in 2020? There's no reason for us to leave.
None.
Is it Biden under pressure? Where? Are people in the streets? Are there progressive calls for him to resign? I made a tweet. I said Joe Biden killing the railroad strike, that shit is an impeachable offense to me. Like, if you're a Marxist or socialist, that's easily an impeachable offense.
I don't see what do they mean under pressure. I thought they just said that's what he was going to do when he pardoned those people. They said, and he's about to remove it from the schedule. Isn't that what the Rational National went out and said? Isn't that what TYT went out and said? So now this? Go ahead.
See, the claim is, so I'm bring this person up, Eric Altieri. He's the executive director of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. He called Griner's imprisonment a grotesque affront to the concept of justice. I agree with that. But he also adds, however, it should also cause a serious level of reflection among our lawmakers, considering that a large number of states still inflict similar penalties for marijuana possession on our own soil. And the current federal policy of marijuana prohibition isn't notably different than the stance held by Putin. Let me repeat that. The current federal policy of marijuana isn't different than the stance held by Putin. So you guys see why instead of having Putin derangement syndrome, I'm way more focused on Jim Crow Joe. Who locked up more Black Americans? Jim Crow Joe or Putin? I always see some people in the chat say Putin released way more marijuana people than Biden did. I just know at least this year Putin is won over him.
That's one of the comments right there. Putin has released 500 times as many.
Once again, I know. Well, I'll be honest. I probably should have looked into that, but one surprised me. It's definitely like I always like to. When I talk to liberals, I like to say this. Like, you guys believe that Russia, this hellhole authoritarian state, you gotta know in Russia they have access to abortion. We don't. I don't. I live in Missouri. That's just gone here, son. They get 180 paid sick days. No, sorry, a paid maternity leave, 180. And I was talking to Zoya. You guys know Zoya's love, Zoya's life. She was literally born in the USSR, in Ukraine, right? So she knows a lot about guys. There's so many loopholes. There are people who easily get more than 180 days maternity leave in Russia, and you get free healthcare. So you not only do you not go bankrupt for having a kid, you get 180 paid maternity leave on top of that. So yeah, I'm not that focused on criticizing Russia. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm sure it's not perfect, but how can we?
They have drug policies. I hear they have. I hear they have strong drug. Do you know anything about that? Drug.
This is why I'm not. They're capitalists too. They have harsh drug policies that I think is.
So why would she do that? And that's what this comment brings up: bringing drugs into a country
this is not one.
known for harsh drug punishment takes a special kind of stupid. Well, I didn't hear what you said. Go ahead. Say that again. What you were saying?
I'm not gonna blame her. I'm not gonna blame her. How about the WNBA pay her more so she don't have to go to Russia to play basketball? That's my response to whenever people say that.
Yeah.
Because you guys know why the players had to go over there. They got supplemental income for them. So I'm not as an advocate. I'm not in favor of blaming people.
No, I don't know.
I know you're not doing
so
that.
Let's take it a different way. I'm not sure. Let's say if this is not blame. Let's read it as this is not blame, but she is saying for your own sake. Like, why would you, for example, going to, a Lily White City near where you, and going there at 2 a.m. in the morning as a black man walking down the street, it's not the smartest thing to do. So the question is, why would you, for your own sake, why would you do that? Not to blame you if you get caught. That's not to say cops come and beat you down, but like, why would you yourself do that to yourself? I think would be the question for me.
Yeah, I hear you. I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not to say she deserves this. That's not to say that. Both can be true.
Being dumb shouldn't be criminalized. At the end of the day. So even if you want to say she did something dumb, we still should stand in solidarity with her because that shit shouldn't be criminalized. Period.
Right.
And if you agree that people should go in prison, their life should be ruined because they make a dumb mistake. Let us say the difference between us is as wide as the ocean. I am your enemy. I'm here to defeat you because that's an unhinged ideology as far as I'm concerned.
Because you can identify somebody as making a dumb decision, but that doesn't mean whatever consequence they get is what the consequence should be, or if there should be a consequence at all. This to me is intellectually lazy to pretend like both you can't have them sort of, you know what I mean? Like separate, like one could be.
You said it was in her gym bag and she forgot and it was in there.
Oh, and it's not even that's another thing. It's not even her fault. So maybe she did forget. If you're somewhere in California, like for example, this happened to me, Nick, where I literally forgot something in my coat pocket and I literally got on a plane to another state where the shit was illegal. So it's possible, and it was a great. So I fell into this example where it was like, I knowingly knew I'm going to Texas. Don't bring none of this shit to cross lines, right? It's there. And Rome had already told me where to go. It's there, but don't cross the lines. But I forgot it was somewhere, tucked somewhere. And I was like, wow, what is this in my pocket? And I was like, what? And I was like, I can't believe I got through customs. I can't believe I got through this shit with that. So it could happen. So yeah, it could happen, but that's not to say it would be my fault. Yeah, I got.
Before I move on to the next part, I just want to say, in no situation am I going to apologize for any capitalist state imprisoning someone for weed violation.
Right. I get.
So think about the logic, and I am the person. You guys see my coverage all the time. I would happily acknowledge all the good stuff that Russia and China do, but think about the logic in this. Their ideology is that marijuana is bad for you. And this is the ideology we have too. I don't want to separate that. The ideology that we have and the ideology authoritarians have is that weed is bad for you. Weed will ruin your life. So we're going to ruin your life to protect yourself from weed. Like, this is so dumb. I have no patience for it. That's why I don't believe it's necessary. It's not necessary in society if you want to build the global working class to limit drugs. How is it the response to, oh my God, we got to stop drugs from ruining the lives of your community, so we're going to take the breadwinner of a family out. And now the kids got to grow up in poverty. So what are you trying? You guys, let's limit marijuana because we don't want to destroy the communities. So in order to do that, we're going to destroy the community. That makes no sense. and no matter what your ideology is, you're not going to convince me that makes sense. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the next part.
Yeah, go
Unless
ahead.
you have anything else you want to add.
No. Let's move on. Because
I know we got a lot of stories. And I still want to get to the funny part because I want to address the Britteny Griner part. But now this is the funny part. Viktor Bout, right? The meltdown that comes from conservatives, and I'll explain in great detail why I think it's pretty disgusting. The so-called patriots on the right is upset that an American was freed from Russian prison. Can we just sit and admire the irony of that? The patriots are mad that an American was freed from Russian prison. Do you guys know how ridiculous? You guys see how two-party Politics will break your brain and even make your so-called beliefs make you hypocritical on that. So even if you dislike her political opinions and you're a conservative, your position should be, well, I'm glad as a patriot that we got America free from Russian tyranny. That should be your position. No, they say, oh my God, she's a pot-smoking lesbian. They don't say black, because that'd be too obvious. But they say she's a pot-smoking lesbian, anti-American. Why should we care?
I didn't know any of these views. I didn't know any of these views.
I didn't save it. I didn't
because I watch basketball. Like at one point, I didn't even know she was a lesbian. I had no idea. Because you know what I'm saying? I'm watching I'm just watching them play basketball. I'm not watching the lesbians play back. That's not what I'm doing. So all of these things are brand new that I'm hearing. Like I just found out that when she got caught about the pot smoking. I don't like why. Like you know how many this is my question, Nick, and I'll pass it to you. How many of these Republicans or conservatives that are mad knew her at all? Did they have to go look up something to be mad about? You get what I'm saying? You can't just go, an American was free. You got to go, oh, she's black? Let me Google this motherfucker and see what the problem is here so I can make sure I'm upset.
And the thing is I also think
what kind of shit is that?
It's also because Biden did it too. So they're using this to criticize Biden.
Yeah.
I didn't gather the receipts because it's been everywhere. I'm sure a lot of you guys seen it. The right-wing reaction. For sake of time, I'm not going to go through all of them. But a lot of them are just saying, oh my God, how could Biden, look how dumb Biden is. He freeing this pot-smoking, liberal, anti-American hippie for the merchant of death. Now, this is why I think this is what the story is funny to me.
Meanwhile, John Bolton is saying he's doing cools. You believe this? Go ahead.
Viktor Bout. I read my stories literally 90% of the time. That's why I saw some people correct me on my pronounce. I'll read it more than anything. So I think it's Viktor Bout, the war criminal, arms dealer apparently. So I'm gonna show you, because I know CJ, you asked earlier when I prefaced this, what was the corporate media saying about Viktor Bout? Now this clip in a nutshell sums up the mainstream media concern. And as you listen to this, I want you guys to acknowledge and think about exactly who they are describing, because what they are describing here applies to essentially every single U.S. senator. So let's dive into this.
This past week, they brought him to New York to face terrorism charges. Tonight, those at the heart of Operation Relentless, a sting that spanned 3 continents, tell the story behind it for the first time.
Viktor Bout, in my eyes, is one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
On the face of the earth.
Without a doubt. AK-47s, not by the thousands.
They call this man one of the most dangerous men on the planet Earth. That's the U.S. State Department. Who killed more people? Now listen to this video. Watch them explain. They're like, this guy, Viktor Bout, is so evil, and he's going to explain essentially what NATO does. No, listen, go ahead.
By the tens of thousands.
So he weaponizes civil war in Africa.
Dangerous men on the face of the earth.
On the face of the earth.
Without a doubt. AK-47s, not by the thousands, but by the tens of thousands.
So he weaponizes civil war in Africa.
He transformed these young adolescent warriors into insidious, mindless, maniacally driven killing machines that operated with assembly line efficiencies.
Is he like a NATO trainer, or who is this? Is he?
Are y'all mad y'all got competition? Are y'all mad y'all got competition or something? Y'all described U.S. foreign policy.
Nick, this is them taking out a economic rival. Isn't that what this is, Nick?
Yes.
Is that what this is? That's who when they say he's the most dangerous, who is he dangerous to but the weapons manufacturers' pockets? Go ahead.
Everything they just said about this man Viktor Bout, and you gotta notice, I'm not here to debunk the argument made against him, because I'm not here to defend him, right? Not. But look at everything they say about him applies to literally anyone who agrees with U.S. foreign policy. We armed militant neo-Nazis in Ukraine to destabilize the region, and that is what he's accusing them of doing. We armed militant terrorists in Somalia And then we say, oh my God, we're going to fight the terrorists that we armed. That's what the Biden administration is doing right now. Fighting the people they originally armed. So now they're going to take everything they do and project it on some random Russian oligarch that I'm sure his body count is nothing compared to Anthony Blinken. Him versus Anthony Blinken, are you serious? This nigga D-League compared to what we got over here. So let me play this part again. And it gets funnier because we got like 30 seconds in, but it gets funnier as we go. I rewound to a little bit in the beginning. Actually, I'll play it from the beginning because it's not a long clip. And let's watch it from the beginning again.
This past week, they brought him to New York to face terrorism charges. Tonight, those at the heart of Operation Relentless, a sting that spanned 3 continents, tell the story behind it for the first time.
Viktor Bout, in my eyes, is one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
On the face of the earth.
Without a doubt. AK-47s, not by the thousands, but by the tens of thousands.
So he weaponizes civil war in Africa.
He transformed these young adolescent warriors into insidious, mindless, maniacally driven killing machines that operated with assembly line efficiencies.
Has indicted him on 4 terror-related charges, including conspiracy to kill Americans.
What makes him a threat to the United States?
He is a shadow facilitator. He's arming not only designated terrorist groups, insurgent groups, but he's also arming very powerful drug trafficking cartels around the globe.
This is the Lord of War, the Merchant of Death.
The Lord of War, the Merchant of Death.
Is he talking about Raytheon? Is he talking about Raytheon? The Merchant of War is not Raytheon? Is not Lockheed Martin? What is he talking about? How can people in the United States how are we able to just black out what we do and listen to this shit? Like we just go knock ourselves like that Men in Black shit, just zap our own selves to listen to this shit. It's so ridiculous. Go ahead.
You think they don't know the American psyche? The whole point of a PSYOP, the definition of PSYOP, is a psychological operation. They know how Americans think. American thinks in catchphrases, nicknames. We got Hollywood brain. So, in order to demonize this guy, let's give him a fancy nickname. Let's call him the Merchant of Death. Hey, guy, he's the Merchant of Death. Who do you call Anthony Blinken then? The Emperor of Doom? The God of Death? Like what? Like guys, we can do this all day. Look, Eric Adam, the Crusher of Peasants. Nigga, we nicknaming everybody now. I already nicknamed Jim Crow Joe. Hell, we doing that now. Let's nickname everybody. The Kamala Harris, the laughing war criminal, the laughing cop, the Joker. That's what they doing now. This is clown shit, guys. And people are doing this shit on their shows. On their YouTube shows, in front of Fox News, on CNN, these people got suits on. They think they're serious people. They think they are serious people right now. They're agent of death. You guys know he had a conspiracy to kill Americans? You mean that is the average U.S. senator compared to Russians? The average U.S. senator, you can say, has a conspiracy to kill Russians. The average U.S. senator have a conspiracy to kill Palestinians. You guys,
it's PSYOP, man.
Go ahead, Steve. I know you want to chime in. Go ahead.
Yeah, this PSYOP, man, is leave that up because I want to show because I want to. You don't got to play out. I want to just show that picture of the two guys standing and talking to each other to make this point.
Look what that represents.
That I'm trying to look at the propaganda here because without saying anything, the setup of the screen. Why the fuck are we talking in the dark like this is the motherfucking movies? Unless you're trying to set a particular mood or scene, sinister, danger. You see what I'm saying? While you have the superhero in the back, the American flag, this is like a fucking movie. I'm telling you, they got a DP for this. And said, hey, go get a Hollywood DP or director of photography. That's what we call a DP. Go get a DP. Tell them. Set this scene. This is like a movie director set this up.
That's such a good point, CJ. I'm so glad he brought that up because guys, these things are not done on accident. They look at the dark, ominous tone.
Why are they
They're
talking in the
saying.
dark for an interview?
They think they slick.
What
Oh,
is that?
Jesus Christ.
That's like when you watch them hospital shows and they're talking in the dark in the hospital, like in the sciences, you looking at DNA slides in the dark, like it's to set the mood of the show. Why are they
Yes.
doing that on regular news?
Now do you guys know why I say the United States is the most propagandized country in the world? And not that other countries don't do propaganda. It's that no one has shit on us.
No.
People
Have you
watch
seen Avatar? What country's doing movies like Avatar but the United States? We at that level of propaganda. We're at Avatar level. Ain't nobody catching us. We James Cameron, nigga. Ain't James Cameron the only director, nigga? I want 300 million, nigga. Give me the shit. And they giving it to him to make whatever movie he wants to make. Like, it's so ridiculous, man. I wouldn't be surprised if people like James Cameron, I'm going off on a tangent,
Go ahead.
is participating in the production of these types of news shows. Consultants, Hollywood consultants for these shows, just like they consulted for the January 6th committee hearing, Nick. Remember how they consulted for that? They consulted Hollywood directors to see how they wanted to play that. It is a joke, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's like what makes our propaganda just chef kiss is that there are boomers watching this thinking this is the most legitimate news that they can possibly watch. They watch these people being fucking clowns on TV and thinking, oh my God, look at these respectable news reporters in their suits. Guys, that is what separates our propaganda from other people's. Because I explained before, and I talked to people in China, like Kareem Batesh. Like when you talk to people in China, they know they're getting state TV news. So it allows them to be more informed. They're like, all right, this is what our government's saying. And by the way, they got BBC in China. They got RT in China.
Yeah.
And in Russia, by the way, BBC is still in there. They still allowed to operate.
But no CNN, no American bullshit.
Yeah, Trotsky made this argument all the time. You guys say, oh, look at these state news. They allow opposing state media narrative all the time in their country. We don't do that. The UK banned RT. Like, it's clear to me which one is more free. None of them perfect on freedom of the press, but to me, it's clear which one's better, right? But anyway, I want to. This video was so perfect, but I think that sums up the overall message. And you guys see this tweet. This got 50,000 likes. This guy said, "This Viktor Bout, bruh, the demon who would trade for Brittany Griner." So this guy watched this video and was like, oh my God, Viktor Bout, he's a demon.
Oh, these
And if
people
you
are so
search this guy's
unserious,
name,
man.
you will see people, and I'm sure a lot of them are right-wingers who are panicking about this guy. Oh my God, Viktor Bout, he want to kill Americans. The Biden administration put us in danger.
It's such a joke.
These are the most deeply unserious, dumbest people in politics. If you guys really think Viktor fucking Bout is any threat to your personal life as Americans, you're beyond saving. Well, I won't say that. Everyone can be saved. But your mind is colonized. You gotta get out of there. But anyway, my segment went long, so CJ, I'll pass to you. Let's do. We'll do the Kyrsten segment right now, but I'll do some announcements and some. Because people had a lot of good comments about this particular segment, so I want to throw a couple of them up. If you see any, throw them up too. I do want to throw a couple of their comments because it was a couple of banger comments during this segment. So we're gonna search through those, and I'll throw up some announcements. Actually, I'll let you do that. Let me do the announcement. I'm looking to make sure we didn't miss any super chats.
Absolutely, and then maybe we can do a couple of super chats if you wanted to. Again, we hit 27,000. Everybody. The Kyrsten Sinema segment is up next. 27,000 we hit. Keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep liking. Yeah, like this video. We will be going to the what is it? Where is it at? Oh, Kyrsten is her name. Is it Kyrsten? That's how you say it, right? Kyrsten Sinema story is up next, but we're going to cover a couple of announcements first. Here's a Kyrsten Sinema story. Senator Kyrsten Sinema declares herself an independent to push the Democrats further to the right. Now, This is the perspective of the socialist website. So this is the reason why I wanted to read the story for it. But let's like the stream. We're at 400 people watching, just the perfect amount to get to this story. Of course, there's a lot of people talking about this, especially progressive Democrats. This is a big story to them. This is something they hate Kyrsten Sinema in particular. So we're going to cover this story next. But first, let's like the stream. We are currently sitting at 275 likes. We can actually do another 100. So can we get another 100 likes for this next segment? We can go to 375 and still have tons of people that still haven't liked the stream. So let's get to 375. That's 100 more. Subscribe to the Substack for two reasons. One, Discord has launched last Monday. Our Discord launched. The way to get our Discord, two ways. I think we added you added, or we added as a network. Our Patreon subscribers should also get our link. So we got to log in. I don't know how to do that. I can figure it out. Log into Patreon and figure out how to email all of our Patreon users our link to because that's probably going to bring another couple hundred people to our Discord. So join our Substack if you want the link to our Discord. If you're not already a Patreon subscriber, if you're a Patreon subscriber, you're going to get it anyway. But join our Substack anyway if you have not. And Nick, let's read this super chat. Love the discussion on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, love the discussion on the Griner story. The nuance of difference in y'all's opinion is refreshing. All points are somewhat true, including that it wasn't the best trade. If we can read the super chats now, I'm done with the other announcements, and then we can get into the Kyrsten Sinema story if we have any other super chats.
Thanks for the $4.99. I saw this from Adkid friend of the show.
Yeah, this is good.
Imagine RBN's message heard by a continuing growing audience to contrast MSM framing, mainstream media framing, shows like 60 Minutes. How quickly folks will understand the lies. Like, dude, like once again, when me and CJ see that, we can't unsee. Like that shit is so clownish. It's unbelievable to me that people watch that and they think they're getting real news. That's why I have to get on independent media somehow, because I see this keep glaring to me. I'm like, I had to point him out. And CJ, he used to do propaganda report. We still kind of do it in a way.
Yeah, we still do it. We just don't have the show name.
But so CJ always been good at seeing the propaganda, so that's why this works. So please do think next year, if possible. We definitely have to think about doing something like that. I don't know how yet, but that's the future of RBN as we get more resources and be able to like have the ability to pull that off. But anyway, thank you for the two. Oh, CJ, you want to chime in? You can chime in before I get to
No, I was gonna say something else. I want to keep it on track. So let's go. I can read it. A U.S. Over there, not us problem. New bad guy here. I think that's what that says. Yes. Thank you, Marvin Vargas. Neo's algorithm. I remember that name. Missing the Bernie coverage because I'm at the gun range today. But Nick and CJ, hope you guys are chilling. Gun range, good. Get that practice in.
Yeah, I usually like to have fun on Saturdays. So
yeah, Wildcat Strike, comrades. Go ahead. What you were gonna say?
Yeah. Thanks for $5. That's why I wanted to cover the Brittany Griner part first, and then get to the Viktor Bout because I knew that part was gonna be fun. Like I've been watching these people like in that tweet that person posting that video. He didn't post that video to mock it. He posted that video like, "Oh my God, look at this crazy guy." So people like Americans are so propagandized. Like this guy is nothing compared to the war criminals and psychopaths we have in our government. Even if everything they say is true, I've seen people debunking a lot of stuff they said. I was like, I don't really care about getting into that. But I was like, all right, let's take everything they say is true about this evil guy. You guys are still worse. Thank you for the
by far.
Jay the informant. Biden cleaned my hood by locking people up. Laugh. See, I appreciate when you guys add those emojis. Because, like I said last stream, like I used to go off on people. Everyone in the chat be like, Nick, he's joking a lot. Because, like, without the laughing, like without the smiling emojis, I would have read it like Biden cleaned my hood up by locking people up. I'm like, hey, motherfucker. But I know he's joking because he did the smiling faces, so I'm glad he did.
And we know Jay the informant.
Yeah,
We know
yeah.
Jay because we know Jay. And then the other Jay just sent a super chat. Apollo.
Oh, yeah, I saw we got a few news.
I
Now
started.
let's read we can read the last few super chats before we get to the next story. Thank you for $5, Miss. Can you guys have a segment on the essay discourse on voluntary servitude? I think it would be a really good segment. Yeah, I definitely have to look into that. That could be.
You mean your Discord the show, or there's an essay Discord on? Oh, got you.
There's like
not the show.
On
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I have to look into that about the Discord that she's talking about it. But yeah, it sounds like a good segment. And this is friend of the show, Jay. I think he
actually Apollo is our social media coordinator. He's one of the volunteers that's doing it. He's a volunteer. And hopefully we'll get a couple of other volunteers to help him with the work, because it's a lot of work, and he's finding out it's not easy because we have a lot of content and it's a lot of people, so it's a lot of people he has to cover. So shout out to Jay, aka Apollo.
He's been a friend for a while, so it's good, and we appreciate the help. So I know Jay for a while, pretty solid comrade. So thank you for the 999 and all the help. As well, Jay. Thank you for $5. Ad Kid, another great banger comment from our friend here. RBN and crew, please continue with your message and believe you are helping folks with the truth in creating a community. Once again, much love, my friend. Once again, I think we save all the other super chats for
we can do
in our next intermission. So I'll pass to you, CJ, so you can get your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kyrsten, I believe I'm saying her name right, Sinema flips on Democrats, and she becomes an independent. And I searched because I was like, I want a different angle for this story. I don't want to go to corporate media. I don't want to get their views. I want to see what is socialist saying about this. And I went to the socialist website to get this particular article, and they actually had a ton of new articles today. So go over there and check it out. But Senator Kyrsten Sinema declares herself an independent to push Democrats further to the right. And this is important because she's just leaving. No. Doesn't it push them further to the right, because don't they need her to be in their fold? And now she's saying, I was a Democrat and I wasn't with y'all. Now I'm outside of the party. So fuck with me if you want to, motherfucker, is basically how this is going to work, right? And how the ruling class, and understand, this is just the ruling class moving around chairs here. This is a ruling class saying, hey, they just want an extra seat in Georgia. Go ahead, do the thing right there. Do the thing. And this is all that's happening. This is a coordination that's happening. And let me begin to read the story, Nick. Early Friday morning, Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona announced that she had resigned from the Democratic Party and registered as an independent. The move came less than 3 days after incumbent Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia narrowly defeated Republican Herschel Walker in a runoff election, giving the Democrats a full 6-year term, and strengthening Democratic control of Congress upper chamber, with an outright 51-49 majority of seats. And I'll pause there. So that obviously is now going to go to 50-50. Or is it go 50-50? I guess it will be. She's saying it's the same. That she is teasing that nothing is really going to change. But it's like, yeah, right, is my comment, Nick. But let me read more of this article. Sinema's announcement deflated attempts to portray Warnock's win as a victory for progressive values. Let me read that again. Sinema's announcement deflated attempts to portray Warnock's win as a victory for progressive values and underscored the fact that the Democratic Party and the two-party system as a whole are lurching further to the right coming out of the midterm election. And I'll pause there. And I think the point that I was making of how this leverage is going to be made by the ruling class, because anytime, or I'm not going to say anytime, but they see if Democrats are getting more and more seats, especially in the Senate, that can't happen because Democrats are going to have to deliver on something. Literally, Nick, could you imagine, Nick, having the same sort of makeup in the Senate and the House that Obama did and not delivering on $15 minimum wage.
That's
We
why
have to understand. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'll pass right back to you. But that's why I said on when I was on Jimmy's show, and he agreed. Well, I said pretty much every people Rome said on this show before were the best outcome for the working class if for the Democrats to do well, which happened. Democrats do better than expected. For Democrats to have power, that's why people will see that this fake rotating hero will never have your side when they're given almighty power. So I predicted, and I knew if the Democrats held the Senate that we will get a rotating villain. We don't know who that is yet, but Sinema going independent is just another part of the strategy. So as it is, I see a lot of Democrats say, wait, well, hold up, that don't really mean anything. I know Sinema independent, but she don't really vote with us anyway. Guys, you want me to burst that bubble real quick? Do you guys know that Kyrsten Sinema voted with Joe Biden 93% of the time? You guys know that? You wouldn't know that given the narrative. Yes, she also voted with Trump at like 60% of the time, but Sinema is not this wrecker. She's there to stop whatever the establishment don't want to happen. Right. And then she voted with Biden 93% of the time because that's the shit they want to pass along. And when have you guys ever heard the headline, Kyrsten Sinema, stop military funding? She's not here to stop what they want to happen. Well, name one thing that the establishment really wanted that a Senate filibuster stopped from happening.
Exactly.
I'll wait. After this, let's hold this thought for a few months, guys. But wait, what? Just I'll bank on it. Next year, there's going to be a senator that no one ever heard of, who's all of a sudden the bad guy. And then the people
we should take bets on it. We should take bets. Like who do everybody bet? Oh man, that's guaranteed to happen. But these things happening, Nick, and how they're so much more transparent is making more people understand that this is just a joke. I'm guaranteed there has to be. I'm hoping there is somebody waking up saying, "Wait a minute, Warren, I just won 3 days later. Now this shit. Oh, this is some fucking bullshit. After we did and worked our asses off to get what the Democrats said, and now they pulling this shit. Like, come on. I'm hoping it wakes somebody up. But let's get back to this article. Now I scrolled down to a part that I do want to kind of read here. In an interview with Politico, and they're talking about Sinema, said, quote, "I don't anticipate that anything will change about the Senate structure. Nothing will change about my values or my behavior." Now, there's a lot of ways to take that sentence, but let me explain to you in that quote, Nick, she is telling you nothing, literally nothing. Let me reread it. I don't anticipate. Let me tell you what the in pivotal word here is here. Anticipate. You know what anticipate leaves open? For all of this to say, I changed my mind. Because she's not saying nothing's going to change. She's saying, I don't anticipate that anything will change the Senate structure. Nothing will change about, now she's saying here, you see how this tells us nothing about whether this translates into anything being different because she changed parties? Nothing will change about my values or my behavior. What the fuck does that tell us, Nick? Does that tell us anything? What has her behavior to been but to work against the worker class, to your point? She's just here to be a minion for them. That is it.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point. But go ahead.
Let me read on. This suggests that despite her leaving the Democratic Party, nominally reducing the party's majority to 50-49, the Democrats will be able to have a one-seat majority on Senate committees in the incoming 118 Congress, as opposed to the ongoing Congress where committee seats are 50-50. So they will have a one-seat majority, and they're trying to pass that along as this is going to be something huge. Now, let me scroll down to this other part. I needed to read that so that we can get to this quote here. Politico reported that Sinema informed Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, of her decision on Thursday. The Biden White House rushed to embrace the ex-Democrat following her announcement on Friday. White House press secretary KJ called Sinema a key partner on some of the historic legislation President Biden has championed over the 20 months. And this is the final quote before I go to you, Nick, for any comment. Where did I lose that? Quote, we understand that her decision, and I think this is John Pierre also, we understand that her decision to register as an independent in Arizona does not change the Democratic majority control of the Senate. And we have every reason to expect that we will continue to work successfully with her. So they're playing the game too, Nick. They're playing the game that this is not going to change anything when clearly this is meant to be another like backstop for the ruling class. If the Democrats keep gaining more seats, they need to have more of these sort of backstops for them to not be able to do things. The filibuster is going to stay in place for everything. So what say you, Nick, on just the overall?
Look at the quote by Jean Pierre. Isn't that message is the propaganda we've been pointing out, where she's conveying a message they want to send to the American people while also talking to her own club. Right. So listen, look at that last part. That does not change the new Democratic majority control of Senate. We have every reason to expect that we will continue to work successfully with her. What does that mean, guys? So when Kyrsten Sinema blocked these bills that Biden do not want to happen, that's them working together. That's why they're not stressed about Sinema or Manchin. So them saying that is meant to convey different messages to their different targeted audience. So if you're an average lib who think the Democratic Party means well, you think like, oh man, yeah, that's their Jean Pierre. They're gonna keep working no matter what Sinema says. Meanwhile, with Jean Pierre, what she really means, she's telling the ruling class like, yeah, nigga, we're gonna keep this hustle going no matter what happens. That's what I take from that. And I have this very interesting video. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add from this.
No, I don't. This is in the article, so I can take this down and then. Oh, my bad. I'll take it down. Go ahead.
I got it. So I found something just now. I was looking for another receipt and found the video. I was like, yo, this is better. So on explanation of our rotating villain, I saw Democratic Party people posting this video, and they don't even realize they make our argument. Because they're like, look at Sinema. We got evidence that she is sellout. But look at this. This is very relevant. This is new unearthed footage show Kyrsten Sinema chastising then Senator Joe Lieberman for doing exactly what she did to what she's doing now. So I just saw this. Let's see what she says.
Have been negotiated with the Senate. So what does that mean? Well, in the Senate, we no longer have 60 votes. Some would argue that we never had 60 because one of those was Joseph Lieberman. But that's whatever. Yeah, and Nelson too, but really Lieberman. So now there's, I think as the president so eloquently said on Wednesday, there's none of this pressure, this false pressure to get to 60. So what that means is that the Democrats can stop kowtowing to Joe Lieberman and instead seek other.
So she knew the role that Joe Lieberman was playing. Mm-hmm. But people think she's legitimately ideologically driven in her decisions. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly the role that the establishment carved out for her. So I see a lot of Democratic Party operatives tweeting this video out like, we got her. We got her evidence. Like this is Rex Chapman. Oh shit. This just refreshed on me. But damn, this just refreshed on me. But anyway, there were a lot of liberals that was like, we got evidence of Sinema showing that she's doing the same thing in Lieberman. I'm like, this exposed your party grift. She knew about that before she took power. She took power and she's more than happy to play that role the same way the next senator will play that role because they will get paid by corporate. What's stopping another senator from fulfilling the role Kyrsten Sinema? Nothing. Look at Jake Duger. Saying the obvious, Kyrsten Sinema doesn't work for Democrats or Republicans. She worked for corporate donors. No shit, Jake. They all do.
Isn't that the one and the same? Isn't Democrats, Republicans, and corporate donors isn't that one and the same?
You sweet summer child, Jane. You sweet summer child.
That's one and the same, man. Maybe I should tweet this. I hope it don't go viral. Jake, Dems, GOP, and donors are one in the same. All right, Nick. Are one in the same. Yes. So I'll retweet that. But this is Jank's tweet. And I got a couple to show you here. So Jank tweeted this. Maybe I should click on it and see what some people said here. Let's see what some people said. Which is what Democrats and Republicans do, big off. Did she cash a $20 million check?
God, yo, Jank get roasted every fucking tweet, dude. I swear to God. Good for him for not blocking people.
This applies to literally the entirety of the federal government. So people know this guy's a freaking jackass.
Like, I just say this. Props for Jank for not blocking people. Jank get ratioed every tweet because he doesn't block people. So I give props for that because Jesus Christ, he get brutally ratioed every tweet. But anyway, go ahead. This Ryan Knight. Go ahead.
Here's Ryan Knight. Kyrsten Sinema is not an independent. She's a corporatist who puts her big money donors over her constituents. A true independent does not take bribes from corporations. That's true. How can you be registered as, it should be a rule. You can't even register as an independent and you're taking money. That seems ridiculous. And of course, this guy had to chime in a bunch of times.
Jesus fucking
this
Christ.
Guy, Kyrsten, let me see what he says. Kyrsten Sinema was a top recipient of campaign cash from the following industries. As if you can't put Joe Biden was a top recipient. Like, what does
Biden
this
was
do?
a top recipient of the rail industry. He busted
right. Like, what does this do, Robert? So, but here is the top recipient. Payday loan lenders, finance credit, for-profit education. Just thought I'd remind you of that.
Nigga, payday loan lenders carried Joe Biden his entire career.
Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to do here.
Anyway, I have go ahead. We can read a few more. And I have
one more. Just one more.
Yeah.
Kyrsten Sinema single-handedly stopped Democrats from ending a tax break for hedge fund managers and private equity executives. Meanwhile, she received $1 million in donations from Wall Street. Don't be fooled. Sinema is an independent. She's beholden to donors. How is this not describing everybody who takes money? And we can take this
that's
now.
true.
How is this not describing that?
Like progressives
so
still push
bizarre to me.
Like progressives still push the myth of a corporate Democrat that only some people are beholden to their donor, but some people not. There's some people who somehow not corrupt, even though they behave in the same way. But this individual person, they are really owned by their own. Like
she's really bad.
But anything else on that story? I had one more, and I had
no. You can move on to the next story. You want me to do announcements, or you want to go right into the story?
You can do quick announcement. You can do
okay. So quick announcement: fundraiser for birthday. You can still contribute because people are still sending $5 and $10 here and there. Still raising. Got a good amount to pay some of the hospital bill down. So thank you for those that contributed. Birthday was December 8th, and that was my fundraiser. So if you're still able to contribute, there you go. Also, we hit 27,000. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you're not, check to make sure you're still subscribed because they will unsubscribe you. Also, like the stream. We're at 434 likes. 434 likes. Let's push. Let's see if we can get over 400. And let's go to one more segment. This is the military.
We're gonna do. Actually,
which one we're doing?
I have one on. This is a Ukraine one I want to do.
Oh, Ukraine. Okay. Yeah. I'll make sure to make.
We do got the military one. Fuck. Well, we still gotta do it. I guess
that is the kind of we gotta at least say something about because that is an important one. We gotta make sure.
This is my last point. This is my last point of the day, and I passed you for no.
And then we'll do the military budget being increased. Yeah.
All right. So the West narrative on Ukraine is completely falling apart. That's why you start to see more talks about negotiation for peace, because they realize their propaganda have not worked. People have been called Putin puppets and Putin and Russian apologists for just speaking about history. Bringing up the Minsk Accords makes you somehow a Russian sympathizer. Now, Angela Merkel, we have another situation where someone says the quiet part loud as fuck, CJ. And they keep doing it. So I get called a tanky. We get called Russian apologists. We just called anti-American grievers or whatever because we quote what y'all leaders say, what y'all mainstream media say. So this is Angela Merkel. I actually wanted to dive right into this because this is unbelievable. Angela Merkel essentially saying that the Minsk Accords was a fraud that was meant to buy Ukraine time. And now this is another situation where, yes, Putin was vindicated. And because of this statement that I'm going to read from Angela Merkel, he now is able to say, yes, see, now my special military operation, this shows we had no other choice. Because what Merkel is saying here is essentially that the West knew the Minsk agreement was a fraud, and they will use that to buy time to build Ukraine military and economy up so they can fight Russia later. So they can, in Ukraine, they was never complicit with the Minsk Accords. Kiev never agreed to that, and the West continued to provide cover for them, knowing that they will come to a head. So let me dive into Angela Merkel's comments. She says in 2014, the Minsk agreement was an attempt to give Ukraine time. CJ, they're saying this out loud. They use that time to become stronger, which can be seen today. The Ukraine of 2014 is not the Ukraine of today. They're talking about the Ukraine during the era where the West helped them pull off the Maidan coup. And this is what led to Donbass in eastern Ukraine from leaving and wanting to declare the independence from this rogue regime.
Nick, because we keep saying this phrase, they're saying the quiet part out loud. This is a sign of a collapsing empire because now they don't even need to. They're like, we are so collapsing. We don't have time to put on a veneer. We don't have time for that. We're saying it whatever we're gonna say because we're doing it anyway, regardless of people don't want us to do it. This is where we're at because it's collapsing around us. You get what I'm saying? So it's like they know they're gonna do it because they're fascists. They're gonna do it anyway. So it's like John Bolton saying what you heard. This is not a coincidence that John Bolton and these things are happening. This is not. These are a sign of a collapsing empire. Go ahead, Nick.
This is what a retired leader, an oligarch. He's still an oligarch, an influential oligarch. This is what someone says when they know that a journalist who speaks out against the Ukraine war will be imprisoned in their country. The Germany. We West, we represent Western values, but you better not speak out against our wars. That's why she says shit like this. It gets crazier. Let me continue. She said, as we could see in the fighting near Donbass in 2015, Russia could have easily won then. And I very much doubt that NATO countries could have done then as much as they could do now to help Ukraine. Guys, do you guys hear what she's saying there? She said in 2015, we had to do the Minsk Accords to buy time because we don't think we got the political capital to rally NATO to fight Russia on Ukraine's behalf. Ukraine will suffer a crushing defeat. So we had to buy time. We had to build up the Azov regiment in the extremist elements of Ukraine. So
Nazis.
Yeah, the Nazis. So let me continue her quote. It was clear to all of us that this was a frozen conflict. It's frozen now. That's the miscalculation they made. But anyway, let me continue her quote. She said, it was clear to all of us that this was a frozen conflict, that the problem was not solved. But that is what we gave Ukraine. Precious time. Now, you guys realize that Russia quotes Ukraine violating the Minsk Accords as the reason why they're doing this special military operation, because that hinders everything null and void. That means the people in the area of the Donbass in Eastern Ukraine, they have the right to declare independence because Ukraine lied about this. They lied about peace. And Angela Merkel here admits it. So this is and there are a lot of people who broke this down. I'm going to show you guys Scott Ritter. I'm going to try and speed this part up. His analysis. This is from Russians with Attitude. Angela Merkel in an interview said, it will be funny how everyone in the West Ukraine knew and now openly admits that the Minsk agreement was a scam. Now he said everyone knew it was a scam. Now here's Scott Ritter. He wrote about this as well. He said Merkel reveals West duplicity. And he explains in the subheadline, war, it seems, was the only option that Russia's opponents has ever considered. Now this goes to the point where Putin was vindicated. Because if you acknowledge, like Merkel did, that the Minsk Accord was meant to stall time to build up Ukraine's army, that means what, CJ? That you guys always wanted this war.
Right.
Right? And that is
so when we're talking about provocation, when they keep having to say unprovoked, this is the reason, because it actually is provoked.
So I'm gonna just read a little bit because Scott Ritter does a good job explaining this. And he said Angela Merkel's comments shed light on the duplicitous game played by Germany, France, Ukraine, and the United States. While the so-called collective West continued to claim the Russian invasion of Ukraine was an act of unprovoked aggression, the reality is far different. Russia has been duped into believing there was a diplomatic solution to the violence that has broken out in the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine in the aftermath of the 2014 U.S.-backed Maidan coup. Instead, Ukraine and its Western partners were simply buying time until NATO could build a Ukrainian military capable of capturing the Donbass in its entirety, as well as evicting Russia from Crimea. Now, this is where they miscalculate, because they thought that at this point that Ukraine should be able to force Russia out and just beat them. That is not the case. That's why you got more people calling for negotiated peace, because even if you set the claim that Russia is not doing better than expected, no one can make the argument that Russia is about to get driven out of Donbass in the areas they liberated. They got a stronghold there. That shit not changing. So everyone knows the only way this shit is by negotiation. So they thought if they build NATO support and build a Ukrainian army, they'll be able to force Russia out entirely. That is not true. Now there are a lot of people who are delusional, like the Biden administration, Ursula von der Leyen, and a lot of EU people. But the case is that they're not driving Russia out of Ukraine. This shit is not going to end. There's going to be a long-standing conflict unless you guys start negotiating for peace, right? So anyway, let me continue. Actually, I want to get down to this part where Merkel's comments showed and proved Putin right that the Minsk Accords was a mistake on his behalf. And this last part I'm reading, I'm gonna show another part of this. Merkel's comments parallel those made in June by former Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko to several Western media outlets. Our goal, Poroshenko said, was to first stop the threat, or at least to delay the war, to secure 8 years to restore economic growth and create powerful armed forces. Poroshenko made it clear that Ukraine had not come to the negotiation table on the Minsk Accords in good faith. This is a realization that Putin has come to as well. In a recent meeting with Russian wives and mothers of Russian troops. Actually, this is the next part I want to show. Because he goes on to explain Putin's reaction. And this is a gaffe because Merkel said the truth out loud. Right? So here's Hassan, friend of the show here. President Putin says Angela Merkel's recent remarks about the Minsk agreement only show that launching the secret military operation was the right decision. Because the Russians argue, and I keep asking people, what was their other option? I hadn't heard an option. But what Russians say, we had to do this. We had to get involved in this regional conflict because the neo-Nazis in Ukraine and the West will not uphold the Minsk Accords, and it will continue to devastate the lives of Russians in eastern Ukraine. So we have to get involved to establish their independence and freedom from the tyranny of the West. So Merkel saying that the Minsk Accord was always a sham, so that the Azov neo-Nazi can continue their war against Russian-speaking Ukrainians. This proves Putin correct, and he go on to say this. So it's a long clip. So I'll just read a little bit of it because I want to move on to the next segment. But he said here, I want to lower the audio and read it since this is only in Russian. He said, to be honest, it was absolutely unexpected for me. It disappointed. Frankly speaking, I did not expect to hear this from the former chancellor because I've always assumed that the German leadership behaves, sincerely with us. Yes, of course, it was on the side of Ukraine, supported it, but it still seemed to me that the German leadership has always sincerely sought a settlement on the principles that we agreed on within the framework of the Minsk process. This only shows that launching the SMO, the Special Military Operation, was the right decision. It turns out that no one was going to fulfill those Minsk agreements. Ukraine's leadership, ex-President Poroshenko, also said he signed, but he would not comply. I thought that other participants in the process were honest with us, but they lied to us. And that's not something that Putin made up, guys. That is literally what Angela Merkel just said. So if you say that the West never had any intention of complying with Minsk and that Putin's excuse for invading Ukraine is bullshit, just remind those people that many Western leaders, including Poroshenko and Merkel, just openly said so. Right? So, let's see. I think that last thing I have. Oh, yeah, I want to show. There's another reaction. I'll be quick with this one because this last one I really have on this story. I'm gonna share my other story. I'm gonna say that other part from Monday. This from Lukashenko used, and now because of this gaffe by Merkel, now that the Russian PR machine has a lot to work with now, because now Russia and their media apparatus, and also the entirety of the world sees what she says. CJ, so
did
why
she
you
forget that she forget that was supposed to be a real thing? They were supposed to be pretending like the Minsk agreement was real.
But I think they get so cocky sometimes. They get so cocky sometimes. They're so insulated. They just be talking amongst each other. We wasn't gonna follow the Minsk Accord. Of course, then what the fuck they gonna do about it? They forget that everyone can hear them. So why do you guys think Africa is not going along? Why do you guys think India is not going along? Why do you guys think 80% of the world population is not going along with Russian sanctions? In fact, I got a story I'm preparing because I just read a headline. The Egypt bank now signed on to BRICS. So BRICS is growing. The global population is not falling for the Russian narrative because even though the mainstream media, and guys, go Google this shit and find this anywhere in the mainstream media. It's nowhere. This statement by Merkel, and this is what a lot of people highlight as well, is game changing. This should be a massive scandal, what she just said. But meanwhile, in the West, in the UK, this story is nowhere to be found. They are straight up covering up what Merkel said. That's why I'm a few days behind on this story, but I wanted to cover it because it's one of the things that they're not talking about. So you got Africa, you got China, you got India. They saw what Merkel just said, CJ. Why do you think they're not going along with this shit? So I'm not going to play the video, but he just said disgusting and vile are words of Lukashenko to characterize Angela Merkel's interview, in which she stated that the Minsk agreements were used to gain extra time to arm and train Ukraine. So this gave a ton of ammo to people who that agree with Putin's rationale for the special military operation. And CJ, the West keeps doing this. They keep saying stuff that only justify what Putin believes. But anyway, I think I'll wrap the story there. CJ, you have anything you want to add before we move on to the next story? I can just get my. I'm gonna say my other story.
Yeah, I can do my closing comment, and then we can do the final budget story. I've been looking at some other shit in the background. This shit is ridiculous.
Maybe like 15-20 minutes, but go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, and if I have to close it out, that's fine. I got a little more if you have to leave. So let's just go right into it without any announcements. Let's go right into it. Where am I? More money for war, but can't feed the poor. Let's call this segment that, and we'll get right to the article. since we're limited on time here. Record U.S. military budget prepares for future conflict with China. Do you believe that's what that is? That because I forgot that was a question I should have asked before I brought this headline up. Do you think that this increase in military budget is a signal of upcoming conflict, or they believe of an upcoming conflict that's needed with China or Russia? It could be both.
Remember what I said months ago, CJ? I mean months and months and months ago. When everyone was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna praise Joe Biden for pulling out Afghanistan," and then those same people ignore the fact that Biden now starving those people to death. Right? I remember when we covered this, it's probably a year ago. I asked you guys the question: why do you guys think, despite pulling out Afghanistan, a war that costs $300 million per day, that they increased the military budget? Remember that, CJ? And I was like, guys, they're doing that. They're changing their strategy. They're now going to shift their focus to China. I said that over a year ago. And now
it's too late. It's like, why are they this late? This is what capitalism does. They come at shit so fucking late, but they claim they are the innovators. Like, didn't you see this a long time ago? Like, where are the fucking experts? I thought they had the best experts on economy and Wall Street, and they couldn't see this coming, that China was rising. It's too late. This literally, Nick, is too late. This literally, like, you're not going to stop China from doing what it's going to do. It's multipolarism is coming. It's here. It's like you're not going to stop it. So let's get to the article, Nick. I don't know if you've had a chance to read this, but
yeah, I didn't see it yet.
With no serious public debate or discussion, the U.S. House of Representatives voted Thursday to spend nearly $1 trillion on the military over the next year, funding the proxy war in Ukraine against Russia and plans for military conflict with China. The vast majority of both Democrats and Republicans in the House voted to spend $858 billion on the U.S. military, a figure I was correct. It was billion. 45 billion, Nick, higher than what Joe Biden had requested, and 8% higher than last year's budget. So I'm gonna stop here. When was the last time Biden said, "Hey, give us $15 minimum wage," and then they came back with $20 minimum wage? Has that ever happened, Nick? Has that ever happened? But somehow he can ask for 13 billion. I think that's the right math. 813 billion, and then get 858 billion. That's new. I wish I had that account. I wish I had that accountant. But let's continue. The principal target of the bill is China, with the congressional lawmakers publicly discussing preparations for war with the world's most populous country in barely veiled terms. And this is something that I didn't necessarily know, Nick. I'm going to read this part again before I read the quote. The principal target of the bill is China, with congressional lawmakers publicly discussing preparations for war with the world's most populous country in barely veiled terms. Here's the quote. This year's National Defense Authorization Act takes concrete steps towards preparing for a future conflict with China by investing in American hard power, strengthening American posture in the Indo-Pacific, and supporting our allies, end quote. Wisconsin Republican Representative Mike Gallagher said. In a press statement, Gallagher praised the fact that the bill, quote, provides similar drawdown authority to arm Taiwan as we have Ukraine, end quote. You have a state. Actually, let me read this last part because yeah, because this is in your wheelhouse when it comes to yeah. Anyway, let me read this part. Despite
I'll read that again. I like scroll just a little bit. I'm like, they just say what?
Yes, I can read that again. Let me read that part again. Just that last part.
Provide similar drawdown authority to arm Taiwan as we have Ukraine. They are saying, they just say this shit, the quiet part, straight up out loud. Holy shit! But go ahead, CJ.
And I said, that literally means when a person doesn't have to pretend anymore, that means they know we have to do this. I don't have time to pretend, and two, I'm gonna forcibly do this regardless of what people want to have happen. You get what I'm saying? That's the reason why you feel secure in saying this out loud, and not saying it thinking, oh, this might foil my plans. They're not saying that at all. Like, oh, this could foil my plans.
It's unbelievable. I was preparing the next receipt, and I just heard you sound like, wait, what? Did he actually just say that? I heard that, like, wait, provide. I had to read that. They just say this shit just straight up, man. It's unbelievable.
Provide similar drawdown authority to arm Taiwan as we have Ukraine. And they're talking about arming that small portion of Taiwan? Because didn't the rest of Taiwan vote for one China? This is insane, Nick.
Guys, we have the craziest rulers. Like, I hear literally all the other criticism of other countries, and even if I acknowledge it, I'm like, dude, they don't have shit compared to our it's crazy. But I just heard that part. My ears spoke up, and I was like, all right, but go ahead, CJ. That's crazy.
Right. So despite the war in Ukraine being used as the justification for the massive surge in military spending, the central force of the bill is U.S. preparation for military conflict with China. For the first time in U.S. history, the United States is directly arming Taiwan, providing $10 billion in arms over 10 years. The direct arming of Taiwan strikes yet another major blow at the one China policy.
Is Taiwan there any criticism? And like, where's the anti-war Democrats? No criticism from the progressives about this.
I wonder did they vote for this? And those in the House, I wonder did they vote for this?
Ilhan voted. I know Ilhan voted against it because she voted against it. She's like, guys, I finally this ain't good.
Look, RBN, please do a video of us.
I don't have the tweet statement. I can find it, but she literally tweeted like 3 times. She was like, guys, I'm voting against the military budget. Hey, guys, I'm voting no. Like, all right, you didn't vote no against Ukraine funding. She finally did one good vote. She can't shut the fuck up about it. But anyway, go ahead. I'm gonna see if I find it.
All right, I'll continue. Right, I'll read this last part again. Despite the war in Ukraine being used as a justification for the massive surge in military spending, because that was the reason, Ukraine. That's why we're sending all these billions every couple of weeks. The central focus of this current bill, though, is U.S. preparation for military conflict with China. For the first time in history, the United States is directly arming Taiwan. That's astonishing to me still, even though I'm reading it for the second time. Providing $10 billion in arms to over 10 years, the direct arming of Taiwan strikes yet another major blow at the one China policy. Taiwan is by far the most referenced geographic area in the bill, Nick.
Guys, this is so crazy.
438 mentions, more than Russia, with 237 for Russia and Ukraine 159. That's telling you where the focus, 438 mentions. The bill ends the requirement that the Pentagon provide competitive contracts for military procurement, opening the door to massive price gouging by military contractors Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing, which are already posting record profits fueled by the bloody Ukraine-provoked war. And I just can't. I gotta pause because I'm just reading this. This is ridiculous, man. They're going to. The bill ends the requirement to have that the Pentagon provide competitive contracts. So a monopoly on weapons.
Look at it, opening the door to massive. Look. So I was reading ahead. Opening the door to massive price gouging by military contractors Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing. Guys, they wrote the bill for that. They openly working for these people. Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing is already shattering their profits because their votes on the Ukraine war and funneling military weapons across the globe. Now, despite them making record profits, they said, let's give them some more. Let's give them another vote. Let's allow them to price gouge military contractors on top of that. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, I see someone, Desert Man said they definitely wrote the bill. Yeah, You're right.
Oh yeah,
Raytheon-
these three
Yeah.
lobbyists here, they're lobbyists. Absolutely, they wrote.
Yeah, I
these
agree.
bills.
They definitely wrote that shit. They definitely
Absolutely.
wrote that. So anyway, go ahead, CJ.
And that's the thing. That's something a lot of Americans don't even know. Like, I'm not even sure my mom knows that senators don't even know what's in these bills. They literally don't. They have staff that read the bills and give them talking points on it. They don't read these bills. They don't write these bills. Like, and we're voting for this, man. It's ridiculous.
Americans are so propagandized. They think their politicians are literally standing in front of a chalkboard, looking at all the pieces, analyzing all the stats, and like, we gotta support this bill. I really thought about this. I have recommendations. No, they don't give a fuck. These are actors doing whatever they are told. People really think that they are like these philosophers, these thinkers that are really thinking through ideology. None of them are that. They're literally unhinged imperialist capitalists who will serve capitalism, capital, and empire. That's who they are.
Let's read this. So, okay, I was right here. Here's the quote. Quote, whether you want to call it wartime contracting or emergency contracting, we can't play around anymore, end quote. A senior congressional aide told Defense News earlier this year. This, quote, wartime contracting, end quote, means that arms dealers will be free to charge taxpayers effectively whatever they want with no serious oversight or regulation. Even as Congress slashes funding for vital measures to save lives in the COVID-19 pandemic, including vaccinations and testing, it is recklessly throwing money at the Pentagon. Every department of every single service will get more money. Let me read that again. Every department of every service will get more money without exception. The U.S. Navy will get $32 billion for new warships, including 3, and that's the key. In preparing for China, you have to boost the Navy. The Navy is how any war with China. You're out in the sea, literally with no backup. Nick, if they try to bring a war to China, there's no land behind you. This is crazy. This is insane. So let me continue here. The U.S. Navy will get $32 billion for new warships, including 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and 2 Virginia-class submarines. And you can see the picture there. That's where this is where our money goes instead of food, wages, and healthcare, Nick. There we go. Let's continue. And the Pentagon is authorized to purchase a further 36 F-35 aircraft, each costing approximately $89 million, or even enough to build 6 school buildings. The bill continues the transformation of the U.S. military from a force aimed primarily at subjugating and terrorizing former colonies such as Iraq and Afghanistan into one prepared to fight wars with competition. Sorry, hang on a second here. One prepared to fight wars with peer competitors such as Russia and China. I can't believe this. Let me read this last paragraph, then I'll pass it to you, Nick, for comment. Commenting on the planned retirement of the A-10 Warthog attack aircraft, Air Force Chief Staff General Charles Q. Bryan said in April, quote, the A-10 is a great platform for a permissive environment, but I don't see very many permissive environments that we're going to roll through into in the future, end quote. Nick, this is insane. This is insane, the escalation, and it's a clear target. 438 mentions in this bill, Taiwan. That's by way, and China knows this. This is why Taiwan is such important. All of the attacks, or the vast majority of the attacks on China has been by way through Taiwan. And the United States knows this too. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, this is why I essentially tell you guys all the time that United States, we are a failed state. The United States is essentially an arms dealer that's masquerading as a state. That's all we do. We just sell arms. I don't know how people go through hear this shit and go through it passively. Like, we have a government that shut down a strike, forcefully shut down a strike while funding the military more, while funding the police more. That is what you call class war, ladies and gentlemen. Like, there's an open, unapologetic class war that has been waged by Americans, but they can't stop focusing on dumbass culture wars. Like, I could not care less about a lot of this bullshit that most people talk about while we literally have Raytheon and Boeing running our government. We are talking about trans people
Do
in
you think the
school.
Brittany Griner? Do you think they intervene with Brittany Griner in this particular time so they can pass this bill under? You see what's happening right now? What's the popular story, Nick? As this is passing, do you think they would do something like that?
You got the right talk while this happening, the right talking about libs of TikTok and gay people in school while this is going on. You guys think that non-purpose? You got the right wingers that want you to focus on gay people or random culture war number one. Democrats that want you to focus on Russiagate, January 6th. Hey guys, look at this bullshit over here. No, look at our bullshit over here. Look at this. Meanwhile, the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex win no matter what. When has Goldman Sachs lost an election? These motherfuckers are undefeated. Raytheon is undefeated. We all worry about stupid bullshit culture wars while this shit is happening right in front of our face. That's why I don't think I find all people who focus on that shit deeply unserious. Like, I understand that shit was going great. Like, CJ, we didn't have corruption, then we worry about culture, right? Because, like, all right, we all fed, right? We don't have corruption. Now let's make sure we got a good culture. I don't give a fuck, guys, about like our culture while we have fucking insane war criminals being lauded as heroes in our society. As we have Wall Street that is stealing our wealth and bankrupting our families. We got a prison industrial complex that has turned the state into an authoritarian hellhole. Anyway, that's all I say.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you have another receipt? You said you had another receipt. You got to check out though, huh?
Oh yeah, I will show you guys this. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, Ilhan, so happy that I was looking for the votes. And maybe I could look more into it. I couldn't find the vote breakdown. I couldn't find the vote breakdown for this, but Ilhan was tweeting about this. She said she voted no on the $850+ billion Pentagon budget. I haven't heard AOC or anyone say anything about it, so I don't know how they voted. But you see, she wrote this whole thread. Like, it's not moral to spend more money on the Pentagon budget.
Oh my god!
So, as you know,
get out of here.
Again, I always got to preface to say my algorithm is pretty damn radical. But as she tweeted this out, people was like, motherfucker, we just saw you launder money for a proxy Ukraine. Get the fuck up. So she knows, CJ, she knows that criticism is out there of her because she was making a big fuss. And I'm not going to say not, like, I'm telling you, I'm just done praising rotating heroes, right? So if you want to say, oh, I'm glad Ilhan voted against it, okay, I'm sure, I guess. Like, this is our friend Lucy, Blue Moon Red Wine. He says, your turn to play rotating hero. So, like, everyone in the comments, I know once again, my algorithm is radical as hell, but people was calling her out for funding Ukraine. That's going to be a stain, and they don't realize it because once again, we know politicians are just actors following their advisors misled them. Like, when they had the conversation, Absolutely. They probably thought that they can vote for Ukrainian Nazis. They think they can vote to fund the proxy war Ukraine. They're like, oh, don't worry, it's not going to be a big deal. Because I don't think they really thought about it, to be honest. They just say, oh, you got to go along with this. You can't question Democrat Party on this. Don't worry, not going to be. No, this is a forever stain on the record now. Like, people would not. This is what lost them the respect of people like Norman Finkelstein called them out for this. Like, people I usually didn't see call it the squad. A lot of anti-imperialist leftists who usually don't call them out by name. Even they start calling them out as being weak. Mick Wallace, Claire Daly. Like, people who never called Bernie and the squad out start calling them out for Ukraine. So I think they realize how much they fucked up. It's too late now. They're already in. So Ilhan's like, hey, guys, I'm not completely a military sellout. Nah, Nah, you can't halfway. You can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of resisting the U.S. empire. And also, we gotta remind ourselves, Somalians hate her because she betrayed her own people.
That's true. That's true.
U.S. puppet regimes in Somalia. So yeah, we don't play the rotating hero. If you look for us to praise you, Ilhan, for this vote, you need a little bit more consistency before I'm gonna praise you. It's not gonna happen here. I know I might be an asshole, but CJ, I'm gonna say my other story for Monday. I usually had a hard out on Monday, on Saturday.
You can take off. I'm actually gonna do another story after you take off.
Right,
so,
cool,
any
cool.
last words before you take off? When people gonna see you on Monday? I know.
I guess we're gonna have Aaron Good on Thursday. That's gonna be a fire show. You see him on Multipolarista. We had him on a few times. Great historian, great anti-imperialist reporter. So Aaron Good joined me on Thursday. Shama Sawant should be joining either Monday or Tuesday. We nailed at the time. So great guest coming next week. I had to push a few back that was playing this week, but that's gonna be more great content for you guys later. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, support us on Patreon as well. Revolutionary Black on Patreon to help us continue this great work. So with that, I'll pass to you, CJ. And I see you guys on Monday. CJ.
All right, comrade. I shall see you, Nick. And we're gonna transition because Nick told me there's 20 minutes left in the debate between Kashama and Ryan that we did not cover. And actually, I have not seen, so I want to watch this live with you. It's short because we covered most of it already. So let's pick up here for those that are able to stay and not going to be too much longer, but let's see what else Ryan says, because why I wanted to see this is because Nick tells me that Kashama goes off on him again, even worse. So I want to make sure I see this part. So let's continue here.
In the wake of this vote, who are very disappointed, have been calling out the Biden administration, and we can insert a clip to one right here. So
we have a pro-labor president who loves to pat himself on the back for that.
I intend to be the most pro-union president, leading the most pro-union administration in American history.
And when the going got tough, he turned his back on the people he's supposed to be looking out for.
We've heard from multiple union workers who feel like the Biden administration has let them down.
You voted for President Biden, but now you say you feel like he's turned his back on you.
So this fiction that we don't know any workers.
They think the Biden administration sold them out because the Biden administration did sell them out. Their eyes are on the prize.
If the betrayal, if you are acknowledging, Ryan, that Biden didn't want this, he didn't negotiate for a bill with the T in it. He seems to have a priori sided with with industry and not pushed for he did not say, I will only sign a TA that includes 7-day sick days. Much to the contrary, he used his power with the Railroad Labor Act to cut into the leverage of railroad workers and deny them their right to legal strike. If the betrayal happens at that point, why is it so difficult to say that every action that comes after that validates Joe Biden's position, including Pramila Jayapal's
she gets him right here
about splitting this bill, and the fiction that the 7 days are going to go for it and anything is going to come of it in the Senate, when we know what the edict is coming what the edict is coming down from the top of the Biden administration. Everything along that trajectory, all of the fruit of the poisonous tree that is the Biden administration agenda is part of that fiction. And I think that what we're saying, at least I'll speak for myself, what I'm saying here is that to try to carve out, what the squad members did differently. What the squad members did was not really part of the problem. When they chose to vote for this fiction, instead of calling out the Biden administration and voting no the way that Bernie did and draw a line in the sand the way the Shama is saying.
My question is, because you can see him visibly get upset, why is he visibly upset about people wanting to call out AOC and say, what you're saying about AOC and them being pro-worker is wrong? Why does that make him so visibly upset? Is a question I have.
Makes them complicit. And it was not a choice that gained them anything at all. It didn't gain the possibility of a vote, even as cockamamie as I think it is to believe that vote would have passed the Senate. their vote in the House didn't even set it up for the Senate because it was going to the Senate anyway, per Pramila Jayapal's own design. So at a certain point, the squad members have to be able to justify without just saying someone else told me so. They're the Congress members. They're in Congress. They're accountable to their constituents. They're accountable to the organizations that they're members of, ostensibly. They have to justify why it is that they voted to break a strike, knowing that they literally had zero to gain from it.
The workers felt they had something to gain from it, and I'll add on to what
He
they
keeps
also
going
said.
back to this. He keeps going back to this garbage. He keeps going back to this garbage. And for those who are just getting to this conversation and may not have heard it, I can't believe you haven't, but may not have heard it. He's still trying to bank on workers told. So this is the story he's given, is that some group of workers, this militant small group of workers within one of the unions, there's 12 unions involved. One of the unions of this militant group within that one union came to the Jabal Bowman's office to try to implore this strategy. That is what he's saying happened. So he's saying those workers. The problem he has, and I'm bringing you up to speed, is what Kshama points out. And that is, the problem is, it was voted down by all the workers, like all 12 unions, 55% voted it down. So at best, Ryan you're just the people that you're talking about, Ryan, with this strategy, which I think is complete bullshit. What you're talking about is the 45%, the minority. So you're advocating for the people against the majority workers. Even through out of your own words, out of your own mouth, I mean, but let's continue.
They feel like they have more leverage now going into their next round of negotiations. They also
why?
Because now the carriers know that it's possible that Congress can actually make the deal tougher.
Is that believable? That is not even believable, Ryan, what you're saying. That the rail carriers think that's putting them on point. Now they think because Congress can do some. Congress can do what? Create a separate bill that's not going to be passed, Ryan? Terrible. Let's get to Kshama, please.
Congress broke the strike, Ryan.
Congress has broken every single strike since 1923. This is the first time.
Do you hear how we're having a conversation?
I don't believe a person with the degrees he has and the position he has thinks that this is logical. I don't. He has a position that he has to stay on no matter what. And that's what we're seeing. There's no way that a person can draw logic from this outside of that.
Do you hear this conversation we're having about somehow this being some narrow victory for labor instead of being a soul-crushing defeat for labor?
And
that's so destructive. That's so toxic.
You're asking me what the
a 5-year-old will understand what leverage, what counts as leverage and what does not. This was a strike-breaking vote. As Brianna said, it was a soul-crushing vote. But more than that, it was worse than that, actually. That's bad enough, but it was worse than that. It didn't help, and it is one of the things that is helping create an opening for dangerous far-right ideas. It's turning people, this is the sort of betrayal that turns people, genuine, good working class people, young people away from politics. Because when you have a historic betrayal like this, then ordinary people get turned away from politics, and worse than that, they could become fodder for the right. They might think that, this disingenuous and complete con man like Trump could be on their side. That is what happened. That is how Trump won in the first place. This was a historic betrayal. This is the opposite of leverage. If workers, again, as I said, my message is not to people like Ryan Grimm, it's to workers who are watching this. If we don't fight back, if we don't fight to make next year a year of victories for workers, if try to replicate Striketober many times over, like John Deere workers, Nabisco and Kellogg's workers winning victories, if we don't multiply those victories many times over, there is a possibility, there's a danger that the betrayal that just happened could go down in history alongside Ronald Reagan crushing the air traffic controller strike, the PATCO debacle. So that is what we're talking about. This is, in other words, this is the exact opposite of leverage for workers. I have no idea what this guy is talking about.
Yeah, so Kshama says, because it's clearly, because after a certain point, when you're engaging with him and engaging in what the arguments he's saying, you start to realize there's no way that a sane person thinks this. There's no way. And that's why you hear in this conversation, you hear Bree multiple times like go, what the you start to go like, am I crazy here? Because he is saying things that are so out of bounds of logic and reasoning that's why Kshama is like, I have no idea what this guy is talking about. That's why the reaction. What he's saying is so out of bounds of just logic, of reasoning. There's literally no comment to come back to this shit.
How can any worker in their right mind think that this has somehow created leverage? No, in fact, what we need to do is for workers to start rebuilding their morale after this soul-crushing defeat and learn the lessons and understand that in order to win victories, you need to do the opposite of what happened here.
Ryan, are you concerned at all that the way this panned out set it up so that some workers, and we've seen people say this on social media and on news reports and interviews and such, set it up so that there is some real ambiguity about which side Democrats are on, where some folks are saying, well, I saw various Republicans in the Senate vote this down because it didn't, contain the days off. And I saw Democrats vote for it, and I saw the squad members vote for it. Are you concerned at all that basically this is a perfect storm to set up Republicans in bad faith or whatever, but to set them up to start to claw back the mantle of being the pro-labor party from the Democrats?
Well, I think people should ask the question of whether the party is on their side. They absolutely should.
Including squad members?
They should always be asking that. Yes, they should never let a politician out of your sight.
And where do you come down on that? Do you fundamentally see these votes as a betrayal or not, because you think it's been they credibly relied on what members of BMW wanted?
Yeah, I think it was a legit play on behalf of a reasonable Hail Mary strategy.
Okay, I'm going to replay this. You look at his face based on you and your lived experience as a human, and you tell me if in his face you think he's telling the truth when he's saying this last part that he think it was a legitimate Hail Mary. Because I'm a person that goes off of my instinct. It is completely in his face that he does not believe what he is saying at all. So let me play it again. You tell me if you see it.
Question of whether the party is on their side. They absolutely should.
Including squad members?
They should always be asking that. Yes, they should never let a politician out of your sight.
And where do you come down on that? Do you fundamentally see these votes as a betrayal or not, because you think it's been they credibly.
This is the question. Watch his face, his eyes in particular, any other tell you think he has. Because to me, his face is telling me this is not the truth that he believes.
Relied on what members of BMW wanted.
Yeah, I think it was a legit.
No. That look. No. That's a tell. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I don't believe that shit whatsoever. Not whatsoever does he believe what he is saying. Whatsoever. So that means he is now openly here, no doubt about it, here to shield for the left to protect the progressive narrative in this duopoly. Because protecting the progressive narrative, seeing somebody in Congress on the left as on your team is key, and keeping young people engaged and keeping people of color engaged and people on the left. without the narrative of the squad being progressive and left, without that, you're going to start seeing movements and popping up. And maybe that's what we're seeing.
BMW wanted.
I think it was a legit play on behalf.
You spot me another place in the video where he makes that face. Then he absolutely does not believe this. But let's continue.
A reasonable Hail Mary strategy. And the other point that I was going to add is that the other thing they're trying to do is build momentum for this executive order that would remove.
Let's talk about this briefly,
Yeah.
because Ryan, I've noticed a pattern that every time there was a disappointment like this, and this happened after Force the Vote as well, there's something else that's dangled. And maybe that's me being too cynical, but from my perspective, there's always this next thing that people need to be aspirational for. So with Force the Vote, we started talking about, well, they got these little concessions, they got pay-go, they got da-da-da-da. Okay. And then
massive amount of spending in 2021,
okay.
22.
We don't have to revisit how that was so
Yeah. When he answered that question, he was looking down. He can't look at them. The guy, like, if y'all, listen to the ruling class. If y'all gonna get a guy like this to represent you, you got to get a better liar. You can't get Richie Cunningham to be your liar. And that's essentially what you got. You got Richie Cunningham to be your liar, and he's terrible at it. Richie Cunningham is from Happy Days, okay? You don't know, for everybody. All right, so let's continue.
so transformative in all these lives. But they also started talking about how we're going to save our political capital. This was what AOC said in her tweet to Justin Jackson. We're going to save our political capital for Fight for 15, and we all know how that went. Now it feels like deja vu. They're talking about how there's this executive order that Biden could, by executive order, give sick days to all federal employees, which would include rail workers. But part of the story that's being left out in all of these tweets, including all of these tweets from progressives who were supposed to be trusting with this messaging, is that Barack Obama did exactly this by executive order and explicitly carved out rail workers. Because I think fundamentally the issue is the rail industry is not going to budge on this specific issue. It's why it was designed like this in the past. So why should anybody look at this as a credible goal that could be achieved in the short term when, one, Biden didn't do it today. He didn't do it yesterday. He could have done it any time. He's not, and he hasn't done it yet. And two, the last time he did this, the president did this when Biden was a VP, they intentionally carved out rail workers. What's changed?
Well, I sympathize. Politics in America, is constant defeats and then a step forward here and there. And some people get up and dust themselves off and keep going. And so, like the thing they're pushing for now is both they're going to be back in contract negotiations soon, so they're kind of trying to build power for the next time that Congress tries to jam this down their throats, and they're going to go for the EO, because the sun rises in the morning and you got to get up and you got to keep going.
Do you feel any ambiguity? Do you feel any reluctance as you say, I heard you say on RBN that you just want to put the facts out there. Yeah. Isn't part of the facts that Biden could have done this anytime? Yeah. He's chosen not to do this anytime. And that last time this kind of an executive order was on the table, Obama explicitly chose not to extend this sick leave right to rail workers. Yeah. Isn't it kind of dishonest and misleading to hold out this possibility without providing that full context?
Oh, I've always provided that full context. The 2015 order was written by Obama, who explicitly carved out railroad workers. Biden, the greatest, what does he call himself? The great.
You see that the blinking of the eyes. This motherfucker's lying.
This friend of organized labor in the White House ever, is an extraordinarily low bar. He could have put this into the TA if he wanted to. He did not. He has to be pushed. He's not giving this away for nothing. He was asked about it 3 days ago by a reporter in the White House, and he just blamed Republicans. So there's still a lot of.
Look, Ryan, you tweeted this on December 1st. Union sources tell me their next push will be to demand Biden include railway workers in the executive order, blah, blah, blah. That the additional context is not there. That tweet has almost 9,000 likes. So I know maybe in the article
exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing, and it's despicable. He's absolutely here to mislead, not to inform. That is what journalism is now. Journalism in the United States, especially corporate journalism, is to mislead, not to inform. And that is what he's doing here.
Click through to the Intercept article, the broader context is there. But that tweet, you have to know that your tweet is being leveraged by people who are, again, making excuses for why what happened was okay. If that's okay, we're going to have another bite of the apple, guys. It's going to be another fight. And that is taking, I think, energy.
But that is the next thing that they're fighting for. Like, why wouldn't I say that?
Because it's pacifying. It has a pacifying effect on people who should be.
No, it should have a galvanize. Like, why is it not galvanized?
Why would anybody be galvanized
the
about the
opposite
idea
of logic? And he's trying to get people to believe that. I've never seen such a terrible case, a failure at gaslighting than this. I've never seen. It's so amazing to see this guy still try to act like this is legitimate.
the idea of an executive order that just has about as much likelihood as happening as the 7-day sick leave?
Then you don't have to. Then you can look. The World Cup is on. Like, people can do whatever they want. They don't have to
People
engage.
are trusting you.
Yeah, he's
people
completely
are
destroying his
left
reputation.
sources to be credibly setting up winnable fights. Not that we are distracting them with carrots that are never going to be fulfilled to help them get over disappointments that they should sit with. Because there are some real critiques that Shama is making that people should be making about labor leadership, how much you can rely on labor leadership, how much you can trust this idea of labor as a whole, or rank and file, and diversity of interests that are represented therein, and how much we should be able to fundamentally trust people like members of the squad. And those are questions that are being elided.
Who are you and I to tell them it's not a winnable fight? You think they'll never get sick days? Ever?
No, I didn't say no.
You see how he's trying to frame it? Who are I to tell us we can get sick days? Like we're telling the workers. You're such a fuckface bitch, man. This is more infuriating as I get, because he's intentionally covering for people who are fucking strike breakers. I am trying to stay calm here.
They're never going to get sick days if they keep following carrot after carrot after carrot that's dangled by a Democratic Party that has demonstrated its disinterest. Ryan, these people have
all right, but your strategy was that the rank and file should organize and then become more militant, but not if they suggest a strategy that you think is dumb.
Ryan,
so,
you know that's a misrepresentation.
Yeah, it's completely misrepresentation, you fuckface bitch. This is fucking absolutely disgusting what this fucking piece of shit is doing.
I think
was idiotic, maybe.
I need to go soon, so if I can just
please, Shama, I'm sorry.
Comments.
Please.
No problem at all. I think Ryan Grimm doesn't worry me. I know that the workers who are listening to this understand that he's engaging in sophistry and he's completely misrepresenting what I said. The truth, though, is it's not about Ryan Grimm. It is about people like him. We workers and those of us, genuinely, not that we are infallible. Like you said, we all make mistakes. But the point is, those of us who are genuinely trying to fight for workers, to build a different kind of society, not this society, this kind of misery-filled society, while a few at the top have filled their insatiable greed. We cannot trust people like Ryan Grimm. I mean, Ryan Grimm says, never let politicians out of your sight, while at the same time defending those same politicians who have sold out working people. I would say
You're
working
such
people,
a fucking
never
clown,
let politicians
man.
out of your sight, but never let people like Ryan Grimm out of your sight. Politicians couldn't sell workers out without the Ryan Grimms of the world defending their betrayals. Politicians rely on the left cover of people exactly like Ryan here, making the rounds.
She is destroying this motherfucker.
Or vicious attacks on the working class, and then not only stopping there. Today's episode was just really shocking. I mean, just not only that, but turning around and accusing fighters for workers, socialists like myself, as somehow being against workers. This is just just stunning. But nothing new. It's not a surprise to me. I've seen this all the time in Seattle. If the Democrats on the council weren't given cover by people like them, they would not be able to do what they do, which is sell workers out over and over again. And the way we counter that using my office is we create pressure by exposing them, by building movement, by building clarity, not through sophistry. And the victories we have won are testament to that. But the victories we have won required me to use my office to expose the bad votes, even when I have been the lone no vote, because it is that exposure, putting the spotlight on the Democrats and their betrayals, that combined with using your office as a socialist to build movements is what has allowed us to win the $15 minimum wage, the Amazon tax, and any number of renters' rights which have become national news. It is that kind of fighting movement that we need for social issues, and certainly what we urgently need inside labor and to fight the climate catastrophe. And in fact, and this is my last point, AOC herself, when she was quoted in the New York Times in 2020, she said that sometimes I feel, I'm paraphrasing, she said, sometimes I feel like my party is not on my own party is against me, something like that. Well, it's true. The Democratic Party does not represent the interests of workers. And to the extent that AOC genuinely came into politics wanting to represent the working class, it's not going to work inside the Democratic Party. So it's true. But now we have come to a point where she has made her choices. It's not about her, it's about what working people need. So if we don't call out the betrayals of people who say they're socialists and then they vote yes on a strike breaker vote, what will this lead to? It will lead to young people and workers getting turned off socialism itself. Yes. Because if they
and that is the intention.
Are selling workers out, how can I call myself a socialist then? That's
the intention. That's the intention of the squad and progressives doing these types of things, sending money to Ukraine, voting for Iron Domes, doing strike breaking, is to say socialists do this. Socialists. And you got fuckface Ryan bitch-ass Grimm out here shielding for them. He has just superseded for me, Jank. This bitch motherfucker Ryan Grimm right here. You bitch. Just infuriating what you're doing. You piece of shit, worthless piece of shit.
That is going to help discredit the genuine ideas of socialism itself. And that is why I take my responsibility as a socialist elected representative very seriously. And that is why I never ran as a Democrat, as you all know. I ran as an independent socialist, and I'm a member of Socialist Alternative, which is not part of the Democratic Party. And in fact, that is why we are urgently calling for the need for a new party for working people, because it is, if nothing else, this railroad worker betrayal has shown to millions of people, it is simply not working for workers to rely on the Democratic Party.
And I'm going to leave it there. I can't even listen to this piece of shit, bitch, Ryan. He's a fuckface child boy. Out here just nakedly shielding for the fucking squad. Like a fucking... Okay, I'm gonna go off this motherfucker right here has really got under my skin, because it's nothing like a person who's a traitor to me. And this guy is here pretending as if he's here as a leftist and for workers. All the while doing the complete opposite. And what makes it worse for me and him, about him, is he came here and said, I was dirt poor. So you grew up. You have a memory that you can call back to, and you're saying, fuck those people by doing what you're doing. Nothing like a fucking traitor. And you're a traitor to workers. You're a traitor to the poor, because that's where you came from, you fucking bitch. I gotta go, man.